Not a lot of clearance there.
Weekday mornings at 6 on News Radio 570 WWNC.
Ingles has really brought
Still have
awareness
cuticles?
to locally grown flowers.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Belinda Smith. My husband Russ and I own Briar Hill Farm in Pickens, South Carolina.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you are thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
Now, your chance to win $1,000.
Just Sports Talk, live from the Ingles studio.
And welcome into the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, 1400. The Sportsocracy is heard everywhere on the iHeart Radio app, seen everywhere on YouTube. Go to thesportsocracy.com, click the live video link, subscribe to the channel so you can join us in the chat. Hopefully the parking lot that was I-26 is gone for all of the local travelers in the area. We've had... just a massive crash on 26 this morning. Closed it for several hours. Thankfully, we didn't have to be out in it, Jeremy Greene, and you can be, joining us from the safe confines of Mullet Manor.
I'm going to get a sign that says Mullet Manor, and I may never leave it again.
We did work out some hardware issues, able to get Mullet Manor back up and running here.
We still need the A team put back together, but the B team seems to actually be functional enough to make this work. So we're giving her the old college try.
That's right. So today on the program, final program of the week, as we'll be taking off the rest of the week to kind of recover from the whiplash of the Detroit trip and just the entire Draftmas season. 2024 NFL Draft, of course, in the books. And today, AFC draft grades. We did all the NFC teams yesterday. AFC draft grades on the way today. You don't really have to guess too much what the grade for the New York Jets is going to be. Mr. Homer, we all know.
I gave them I gave them a very honest, very respectable A with 4 pluses. I mean, I don't think that's biased in any way.
No, not at all. We will get to each and every division, each and every team in the AFC. Have we had any breaking news? No, we've had Ezekiel Elliott yesterday. Any today? Any big signings?
Nothing that I've seen. We have a lot of undrafted.
Oh, the Jaguars. The Jaguars releases A. Jones and Joey Sly. What are we going to do?
Frankly, I don't know how I'll go on. I think I need to go lay on my couch now and cry.
Those are groundbreaking moves. Since our good friend Stephen Tao spent most of his day today stuck in that traffic down on I-26, and he, feels like we slight his team all of the time. We're going to start with the AFC North draft grades. That way, we make sure not to rush the Baltimore Ravens draft grade and all of the good things that they have done. But really, all in all, I couldn't find a bad class in the AFC North, Jeremy.
There's not a bad class. There are 2 for me that are clearly winners. And one of them makes all the sense in the world because they're always a winner, but they're not my highest grade in the division. I don't have below a B.
I don't either. I don't have one either. My lowest grade belonged to the Cleveland Browns, and I gave them a B+.
Cleveland was my B. It's hard to be much higher than that when you didn't have a pick until, 52? 54.
54.
But, they made the most 54. Of very little.
They did. Michael Hull Jr., the defensive tackle out of Ohio State, with that first pick at number 54. You filled a need. I believe you got a great player. I mean, great. Maybe I'm pushing it a little bit there, but I mean, give us your take on the Michael Hull pick.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't have loved Michael Hall. I said this through the process that I really like the talent, but he's super scheme specific because he's a smaller guy. Well, the way that you mitigate a defensive tackle who's really good at rushing passers, the way you mitigate his size is you put him in between Myles Garrett and Zadarius Smith. That probably makes up for all of it because he will never see anything but single teams. I thought it was a great pick at 54. I'm really glad he didn't fall any further than that. I heard some things through the process that it was character red flags. When we got to Detroit, I asked a couple people I know that would know what those character red flags were. And if what I was told is true, then we blew this way out of proportion.
Their next pick at 85 overall in the third round, Zach Zinter, guard out of Michigan.
I saw a lot of negative reaction to this because there's a great chance that he's going to be a full-on freshman redshirt his first year in the NFL. But, I mean, I had a second-round grade on him coming in. Then he gets hurt. And, I mean, with Cleveland, you can be somewhat patient. You don't necessarily need him to come in and start right away. I think he will be a long-time starter in this league. I mean, he's a BDD. He's a little stiff. But, I mean, in terms of guards in this class, I felt like he was one of the only ones that went where he was supposed to.
Pretty big guard, 6'6", can definitely fill a hole on that offensive line should he be needed. However, they have starters. They didn't need to draft an immediate starter.
That's the beauty of being a talented, deep roster is that I don't necessarily need a guy to come in and play right away, so I don't have to shoehorn a guy. You can take somebody like this that in terms of overall talent, I think I had Zach Zinter at 42 overall. The injury obviously pushes him down. I usually go about a round if I don't think a guy will play his rookie year. That's my – I can't tell you it goes that way every time, but that's the rule of thumb.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you didn't have a problem with the value in the third round.
Not at all.
Zach. Okay. Then the fifth round, Jamari Thrash, wide receiver out of Louisville at 156 overall. How did you feel about that one?
I feel like Cleveland could have done more at wide receiver, just solely because you got Amari Cooper that's 30 years old. I don't really know what you're going to get out of Jerry Jeudy. I don't know if just the stink of Denver had attached to him, and he's still that electric route runner that we saw when he was at Alabama. I feel like you're just kind of chalking this up that you have two complete question marks and that they're going to be answered, and Jamari Thrash will be your 4. That worries me a little bit because I don't necessarily think he can – he's a straight slot player. I don't think he will do anything more than that, but he's really good with the ball in his hand.
Yeah, but that's what I feel about the wide receiver room as a whole with Cleveland is that I have Amari Cooper, and he's really the only one that I really know what I'm getting week in, week out, down in, and down out. The rest of it is throwing darts. Elijah Moore, yeah, he's okay from time to time. And you got young guys like Cedric Tillman and David Bell. This is just adding another body, hoping that you cash in on something.
Cleveland has one of the most talented receiver rooms in the league with probably the least actual production of any receiver room in the league.
I like the way that was said. Because you're right. It is a lot of talent. You just don't see it all the time. And then their last 3 picks late in the draft in the 200s, Nathaniel Wilson, linebacker out of Mississippi State, Miles Harden, cornerback from South Dakota, Jawan Briggs, defensive lineman from Cincinnati. Any special ones that stand out in that group?
Well, I mean, Nathaniel Watson is – I'll say Buki Watson is the Honda Civic of linebackers in this class. I can tell you definitively, when you need to go to the grocery store, that car's going to start. It's going to start. It will get reasonably good gas mileage. It will get you where you're going, and it'll get you back home. Is it going to do anything special between your house on each side? Not really. I didn't really understand why we started talking about him as a late day two guy, because I just don't see it. He's a really good tackler. In that Cleveland defense, there's a merit to that. I think he starts on special teams. I don't know that there's much more there, but if there is, then it's found money. Miles Harden, that's, you talk about the definition of a lottery ticket. He might become something. He played at such a low level at South Dakota that it's kind of hard for me to project him doing any more than what I've already seen, because the level of competition steps up. For me, he's a back end of the roster, practice squad guy. The one that's actually intriguing to me is Juwan Briggs, because he didn't really fit with the new coaching staff. And the funniest part of that is that he was better out of position than he was where he came in naturally. So, look, Jim Schwartz is a phenomenal coach. If anybody can get anything out of him, it would be Jim Schwartz.
All right, draft grade for the Cleveland Browns.
They are a solid B, as solid as they come, and that's really impressive considering you were the last team to make your first selection.
All right, Cleveland Browns with a B from Flostradamus. Again, I gave them a B+. That was the lowest grade for both of us in the NFC North. Always starting from the bottom, working our way up. Who's next in the division?
The next one for me is Cincinnati. All right, I gave them a B+, and it's not really – I don't have a problem with the players you took. It's just there is a whole lot that could go wrong with this class, because you have a lot of character red flags, you have a lot of medical red flags, you have a lot of lazy red flags. Look, they took, 10 players total in this class? If 4 of them become what they could be, this will be looked at as an A+ class 3 years from now. The problem is that you could actually get one.
And if you had to put money on it, that's Chris Jenkins?
Chris Jenkins is the one I feel the best about. I don't know that he has the high ceiling. I think he will be a good player in this league. Good, maybe not great, because he's not the body is not exactly what you would want it to be. He needs to get a little bit stronger, and he needs to develop an actual repertoire of moves that can get him home. But I do feel like
Chris
he's
Jenkins,
the safest.
Yeah, Chris Jenkins, of course, the son of former Carolina Panther.
And New York
Chris
Jet.
Jenkins. And New York Jet, excuse me. My bad. I always forget that. He was the second pick of the draft for them at 49 overall. The first round pick was Amarius Mims. I like the guy. I know he's got injury questions, durability questions. He's great when he's available. Otherwise, that could be another headache for a long time on that offensive line if he's not.
Well, the Bengals now have the 3 biggest offensive tackles in the history of football, because you got 3 guys that are all 3 6'8". They're all 3 over 320 pounds, and they all 3 have, we'll say, question marks about durability. Look, I'm fine with it. My problem is that I would say Trent Brown is the one that he ultimately replaces, and I didn't see him as a right tackle. I saw him as a left. So there could be a time that Cincinnati has 2 legit left tackles and no legit right tackles. Mm-hmm. It's not impossible to make that switch, but I did say from the get-go, whoever takes Amarius Mims, I see so much Mekhi Becton in him. And maybe I'm just shell-shocked because I just went through this where the Jets bounced him around the offensive line like a ping pong ball, and it led to injuries because he never got settled. The muscle memory never built up, and they broke him. I'm afraid of the same thing with Amarius Mims because he comes in with more medical red flags than Mekhi Becton ever had. Now, if you get the most out of him, this will be an A+ pick moving down the line because he might be the most talented lineman not named Joe Alt in this class. he also has the most terrifying floor.
Couple of picks in the third round for the Bengals. They do love former Bulldogs up there in Cincinnati. Jermaine Burton out of Alabama. This is the character red flag you were talking about.
Jermaine Burton has so many character red flags that he looks like a NASCAR race that just had an I-26 wreck in the middle of it. There are a lot of worries with Jermaine Burton. I do find it ironic that the team that drafted him was the team that put no credence into character red flags for basically 15 years. Looking back at a lot of guys like Pac-Man Jones, that we knew exactly what was going on with you. They tried to distance themselves from that. Then to the best of what I understand, the talent and the value just got to be such a point that they couldn't bypass it anymore. I get it. I don't see him as good of a talent as some other evaluators did. I think he's fine. I just never at any point felt like Jermaine Burton took over games at a consistent clip. There would be plays, there would be quarters, there were very rarely ever he was the best player on the field for 4 quarters. Now, the good thing is he's going to a team that has Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. I don't necessarily need you to be that. The question is, can he replace T. Higgins a year from now if they can't work all that out? And I don't know the answer to that.
All right, the other third-round pick, McKinley Jackson.
He's a weird scheme fit here because I saw him as a 3-4 nose. And I would be remiss if I didn't point out that Cincinnati really liked T'Vondre Sweat. They were all in on T'Vondre Sweat. They did not expect him to go as high as he did, up in the 30s with the Tennessee Titans. And I feel like McKinley Jackson is the girl A broke your heart. Girl B looks a lot like girl A, so maybe we can make this work. But girl B has a snake, and she sets your couch on fire with cigarettes. And McKinley Jackson's got all the talent you could ever want. If you drafted him thinking you're getting T'Vondre Sweat, you're going to be horribly disappointed. There's a lot of untapped potential, which is something I consistently say with Texas A&M defensive players since Jimbo Fisher got there. He was the definition of a blue-chip 5-star prospect. I just never saw that play on the field.
All right, and after McKinley Jackson came Eric All in the 4th round.
I heard a lot in the later side of the draft process. I heard a lot of talk that Eric All was going to go way higher than any of us could possibly have thought, because he is what I said about Jermaine Burton. Eric All is the medical version of that. If he was healthy and had been healthy, he would have been the clear 2 in this class. Probably would have gone high in day 2. I would say in the 33 to 50 range of the second day. The only problem is he hasn't been healthy in 3 years. And so you just look at that and go, is that opportunity cost worth a 4th round pick? I don't have a problem with it because it is into the 3rd day, and I told you from the jump, day 3 is Gnarls Barkley. It's going to be beauties in the eye of the beholder and hope you find somebody that can make the roster. And if he's healthy, he'll make the roster, and he'll make an impact. It's so hard for me to trust that.
He started out day 3 for them. What were their day 3 hits?
Look, Tanner McLaughlin, I like the fact they took him and Eric All, because McLaughlin is the safe version. He doesn't do anything that's special. I think it was Daniel Jeremiah that had him in the top 100, which one of my number one objectives while we were in Detroit was to get Daniel Jeremiah into a room and have him explain that, because it made 0 sense to me. But he's still a usable piece, and he will be a nice 3 behind All, behind Gesicki, and I think down the line he's the legit 2. Now Cincinnati can run 12 personnel for a long time, assuming All stays healthy. I just don't want McLaughlin to be the starter at any point.
All right, anybody else from the late rounds?
Cedric Johnson's the height, weight, speed guy that I understand why a team would fall in love with him. Cincinnati really leaned on RAS scores. Josh Newton, the corner they took in the fifth round out of TCU, he was a summer spectacular for, God, I think we did that 3 times. I know we did it twice. That he got a lot of hype. We started talking about he's going to find a way into the second round, and then he just never really produced it. He was good, not great, which is why he went in the 5th round. And then Dejon Anthony projects as a special teamer to me. I just don't think he has I don't think he has it all to be an actual defensive player. And the Matt Lee, the center out of Miami, that's a straight dart throw. Worth the throw. I just would say he has about a 3% hit rate.
All right, the Cincinnati Bengals 2024 NFL draft grade from Flostradamus is?
B+.
B+.
I had it as an A-
I swung into the A's with this one.
I had it as an A- at first, and the more I thought about it, I had to push it down just a bit because I looked at the rest of the A- and I didn't like their class quite as much. Still very, very solid, though.
Yeah, you got an A- from me. I think you no doubt you got some questions there as to the potential and whether or not things are going to break your way, but the potential to have, like, I'll say at least 4 really good players come out of this draft, there is a possibility for that. So the Cincinnati Bengals 2024 NFL draft class in the books. We'll take a quick break here in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM and 1400. The rest of the AFC North coming up next.
It's Mother's Day with a beautiful floral arrangement from Stargaze.
Clear.
Order early for the best selection of stunning
can you hear me
flowers.
clicking away on my
Call
keyboard?
Stargazer's Designs today at 828-254-36.
It wasn't distracting.
Okay.
Here with little tips for a healthier.
I didn't really notice. So
I've got a quieter one in the closet, but I got to
inviting
dig it
your
out and
friends,
connect it. Which,
family, and neighbors
since
to
it took
join
us
you
till,
in a local
I don't know,
volunteer
14
project.
seconds before the
Discover
camera came
projects
on,
in your
I didn't
area
get a
by
chance to do
visiting
it.
iHeartRadio.com/Earth. When we all chip in, our world becomes a better.
It's all right. We're holding up pretty good. Signal sounds all right.
Environmental Education Foundation.
Did you hear me
to find
cough
more
right
tips
there?
for smarter, sustainable living, or to take action in your own community.
I turned you down.
Earth.
I'm Hannah Storm, and my
So when I heard you breathe like you were going to cough, I turned you down so we couldn't hear it.
Okay. I muted myself.
I know you don't have
have
a
a
cough
button. I
button
just
there.
don't know 100% how it works.
Oh, you do have okay.
Now let's get you up to speed on what else happened around the NBA today. I'll talk to the legends of the game and those behind the scenes with some fantastic stories both on and off the court. Listen to NBA DNA with Hannah Storm on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
To some, a baby's babbling doesn't mean much, but it does. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced
Way to go, Jeremy.
is candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself.
You have
Go
Baltimore,
to
then
ZipRecruiter.com
Pittsburgh.
/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com /
I can. I had them tied.
Look around the car right now.
Let's do
Is that
Baltimore
very
first, then
godly?
Pittsburgh.
Look, life.
Right on.
WBNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WBNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WBNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
Did you know Ingalls only sells USDA Choice and Prime cuts of meat? Maybe it's time to reward yourself. Our butchers cut all our meat fresh in the store every day. Grass-fed, organic, you name it. Not only that, we'll even cut it to order just the way you want it. And we grind meat fresh in the store multiple times a day. It's all in the bag. That's the best meat in town for the best folks in town. Ingalls, low prices, love the savings.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the mountains,
Yeah,
you
apologies
need
for
to
me
call
going
the
coffee
agents
Cofferson
at
here.
Clarissa
When we,
Sells WNC,
cleaned out this
brokered
room
by
from,
eXp Realty. Check us out
to put the
online
desk
at
in it.
clarissasellswnc.com.
I don't know what got into
the app on Google Play or the App Store.
filters
Type
in here,
Asheville
but
Home
it's
Search.
just dusty.
You'll be able
It's
to
still
connect
blowing it
with our
out.
team and see all the
I
It's like
can't
it's
stop
asbestos.
coughing.
For
Yeah, it's
more
probably
information.
asbestos.
You better be careful. You're going to get mesothelioma.
746343 or clarissasellswnc@gmail.com.
The Sportsocracy.
You were just dumber than a bag of hammers.
And we are back in the Sportsocracy, ESPN Asheville. I'm live in the Ingalls studio. Jeremy's live in the Mullet Manor, excuse me.
Mullet Manor.
Back in the, Mullet Manor is working remotely, as you're going to see a lot over the summer months here before we have to reconvene for the real push on the start of the 2024 NFL season. The 2024 NFL Draft is in the books, and today, AFC draft grades. We were not on the stream yesterday because of some hardware issues. We've got those figured out, so now we're back on the stream.
I don't know if we've got them figured out.
We missed. Well, enough to get on the stream today is what I was saying.
We brought out the B
so
team.
there have been a lot. Yes, we're using the backup equipment today to make it all work. There have been a lot of questions in the YouTube chat of, hey, what about the NFC? We did the NFC yesterday, radio only, so you can go back and check that out on the podcast. And, of course, I'm sure Jeremy will be working on some more wrap-up videos and such like that. And, of course, all season long, or all off-season long, we'll be talking about your team right here because that's what we do. Even though there is no football season, we're still a football show.
It's always football
Never forget
season.
that. It is always football season here in the Sportsocracy. Now, we are rolling through the AFC North. And, Steven, I hope you're still listening and not out delivering a package right now. Baltimore Ravens time. Their draft grade is an A for me. I think you can just, before the draft starts, you can just slot in an A grade for the Baltimore Ravens every year.
The only real question
is
is it an A, is it an A minus, or is it an A plus?
I have just an A.
I have an A minus.
Okay. A minus. So their draft class, I feel like it went pretty well. What was your favorite pick that they had?
My favorite one would have been TJ Tampa. I love what they did in the fourth round with Tez Walker and TJ Tampa. That's Baltimore Raven draft theory at its highest, is that you find a guy that for whatever reason people have found their flaw and they can't get past it, and we'll just take them 2 rounds later than they should have gone. Those I loved. I didn't hate the first 3. It's just, if you listen to us over the process, you know that I don't love Nate Wiggins. I think he is really, really, really thin. The fit in Baltimore is better than it would have been in, say, Philadelphia, which is where I thought he was going to go. Because you can kind of hide him with Marlon Humphrey. You can kind of hide him with Kyle Hamilton. So I didn't crush them for any of this. It's just I can't give it the A+ that I was expecting to give it, especially when you look at, later on, I'm not as wild about some of the things they did after the 4th round picks.
Mm-hmm. I loved the Nate Wiggins pick. I get all of the things you said about him, physically limited in some aspects and things. I just thought getting him at 30 was, of course, we're going to sit here, we're going to wait for somebody to fall, we're going to take the best player available, and I feel like they did that.
Well,
Adisa
he's
Isaac
not physically
pick,
limited at all. He's one of the fastest corners that we've ever had in the draft. The problem is that, okay, I'm going to go deep down a rabbit hole here. Sorry. The problem with Nate Wiggins is that he plays one way. He is going to bite on double moves way too often early, because what Nate Wiggins could do is he's so thin. He knew that physical receivers, you really see it when they played against Florida State. You really see it when they played against, I want to say it was South Carolina. I could be wrong in that. There was another tape where I saw this, and it was so obvious. He's so fast, and he's so athletic that he can play off, which keeps you from getting into his body and using the fact that he's so thin. The problem with that is that he would read quarterbacks' eyes, and so you get mediocre ACC quarterbacks. They don't have the eye discipline that an NFL quarterback does. Pat Mahomes will obliterate him his rookie year, because he'll wait for him to make that break on a double move, and there goes Xavier Worthy just running completely untouched, because he bites a lot. He has to, because if he gets into your body and he's going up against somebody like, I'm going to go way to the extreme here, DK Metcalf or A.J. Brown, they will throw him around like a Raggedy Ann doll. He has to do it. And I don't think there's any way away from it, because if you bulk him up, he's not as fast anymore, and that's how he got here. That's why I didn't love him. I thought he was a CB2, that's what he will be in Baltimore. Just know you're in the AFC, and there are a lot of teams that have, I don't know, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins.
Okay, I respect that. The Adisa Isaac pick in the 3rd round, a lot of people were hyping him up into the 2nd round. Why does the pick work? Why does it not work?
Well,
for Baltimore,
if he becomes what he could be, then he should have been a 2nd-round pick. The problem is that, yes, he had a pretty decent pass rush win rate. It's just he was a better run defender than he was pass rusher. I think he's more of the all-around Brandon Graham, Derek Barnett type that, yes, he's going to be on the edge. It's not necessarily his pass rush predilection now that's what got him drafted. He's an all-around player. You hope he develops into that legit pass rusher. I would have just liked a better true pass rusher. I'll give you an example. If they had taken Muhammad Kamara right there, I would have loved it. He's borderline irrelevant against the run, but he's so good getting at quarterbacks. You
mentioned the values of Tez Walker, 113 overall, TJ Tampa at 130 overall. We have not mentioned your Roger Rosengarten. Have you gotten over your whiplash of mentioning his name?
No, I still don't want to say it. I feel like he's on full-on conversation probation until he actually starts a game. But he is – I mean, in Baltimore, that was a pick that I loved because there were people talking about him in the 1st round. The thing I didn't like about him in the 1st round is I don't see him as anything more than a right tackle or a guard. And Baltimore gets him at the end of the 2nd round. I think you can pencil him in on the right side of that line for the next 8 to 10 years. That's really good value at 62.
And then Rasheen Ali, running back out of Marshall.
He was so good at the Senior Bowl, but he did tear his pec. I'm not really sure what the timeline is. We didn't get to see him in the pre-draft process. The value's fine. I thought it might have been a little high because so many of those second-tier running backs fell, but it's fine.
And then they picked up Devin Leary out of NC State / Kentucky.
I knew he was going to get drafted. I didn't in any way think it was going to be to Baltimore. I mean, you know how I feel about drafting quarterbacks that are completely different stylistically than your starter. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I would have liked him better in, I don't know, anywhere else, any other team in the NFL.
All right, and then the pair of 7th rounders, did they get anything in Nick Samak or Sanusi Kane?
If any other team in the NFL had drafted those guys, I would have just said those are throwaway 7th-round picks that probably end up on a practice squad. The fact that Baltimore is legit talking about Samak being their starting guard tells me they like him better than they're letting on. And, well, I've seen you do this enough times that he could be. I didn't see it on tape, but Baltimore's smarter than I am.
All right, the Baltimore Ravens official draft grade from Jeremy Greene. What?
I didn't say anything.
No, I'm saying, what is your grade?
Oh, sorry. I didn't hear you. My grade on Baltimore is an A-.
An A-. All right. I went with a solid A for them. Tied for the best draft class in the AFC North. Jeremy's got the next team a little tick higher. And I don't think you have to do much figuring to figure out which team that is, but we'll give you the winner of the AFC North in the 2024 NFL Draft. Coming up next here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400.
This is your Exergen temperature.
Clear.
On
Thank you.
ESPN Asheville.
Amy just walked in. I'll be right back. What have I got,
This
3.5 minutes?
Hopefully you packed along the rain.
Yeah, I got 3.5.
10-4.
Gonna get wet. A few scattered showers around. Maybe a thunderstorm
We got Colin's super chat after this.
moving around. Low 70s. I don't think everybody gets rain, at least for every hour of the afternoon. Scattered showers, a few thunderstorms tonight, tapering off after midnight, 53. But we will have some fog to deal with on Wednesday morning, then some sunshine, close to 80. Thursday looks beautiful, plenty of sun, low 80s. From the Weather Channel, meteorologist Ray Stajic.
This report is sponsored by Apple Tree Superstore.
Go check out the all-new Apple Tree Advantage at the Apple Tree Automotive Superstore. It's your home for brand new Hondas, brand new Acuras, and a wide selection of local trade-ins. It's the all-new Apple Tree Advantage at the Apple Tree Automotive Superstore. Online at appletreesuperstore.com and located at I-26 at Airport Road, Asheville.
Crooked teeth may embarrass kids whose families can't afford braces. And trying to fix their teeth themselves can make things worse. Luckily, there's Donated Orthodontic Services, a program from the American Association of Orthodontists. For children and teens who qualify and are matched with a volunteer orthodontist, treatment can be life-changing and help them smile with confidence. Learn more at aaoinfo.org.
When the optimistic Billy Halpern meets a suspicious end, authorities focus on an ex-cop turned criminal, but the investigation goes nowhere for decades. Listen to the podcast Cold-Blooded as two investigators uncover a shocking motive in the pursuit of justice for Billy Halpern.
He was good looking, he was funny, everyone liked him. It's just a shame that they took him from us.
Listen to Cold-Blooded on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and search Cold-Blooded to start listening.
eBay Motors is here for the ride with the parts you need at the prices you want. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they're guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time, or your money back. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
At Ingalls, we're proud to work with hundreds of local farms and businesses in the communities we call home. Not only does it ensure that you get top-quality, fresh items for your family table, it's a way for us to support the amazing individuals who pour their heart and soul into delivering the very best they can do. Quality, freshness, community, it's all in the bag. Ingalls, low prices, love the savings.
Showtime Sports and Mountain Graphics have teamed up under new ownership by an Asheville native to better serve our community with the finest custom apparel and unique branded items at the best price. Showtime Sports and Mountain Graphics can customize whatever you, your team, business, or local group may need through high-quality screen printing, embroidery, and laser engraving right here in Asheville. Free personal delivery within Buncombe County and a reduced delivery fee anywhere in Western
35 seconds.
10-4.
AVL.com and mountaingraphicsavl.com. Your one-stop custom apparel shops.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the mountains, you need to call the agents at Clarissa Sells WNC, brokered by eXp Realty. Check us out online at clarissasellswnc.com. And did I mention that Clarissa Sells WNC loves teachers? We love teachers so much, we're giving back 25% of our commission at closing.
East after?
Contact us today at 828-774.
We're going to the East after?
Or clarissasellswnc.com.
The Sportsocracy.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
It is ESPN Asheville. This is the Sportsocracy, and we are live. Well, I'm live in the Ingalls studio. Jeremy, live remotely from Mullet Manor. And you can still, even though we may be in separate places, you can still engage with the program the same way. go to thesportsocracy.com, click the live video link, subscribe to the channel. That way you can join us in the chat. Also join the House of Reprehensibles, and then, you can super chat us. Yeah! Just like Colin did. Colin says, hey, guys, great work from the draft. I wish this little window would go away so I can read it. It says, it will be amazing. It's been an amazing 2 years of watching you, and the growth of this community has been insane. Much love. Thank you, Colin. We appreciate that.
Yeah,
we
I
really do.
It
has been.
I don't think I've had a more surreal time than our week in Detroit, because I had so many people that don't even get to watch the show on a consistent basis or care anything about sports, that were messaging the two of us saying how proud they were, and it was crazy that we were there, and those meant the world to Tank and I both.
Absolutely, and thanks again to Ingles Market. Low prices, love the savings, for being the best sponsor that two guys could ever ask for, and helping send us on these trips to represent not only them, but also you as the Sportsocracy family in the room during the scouting combine, the NFL draft, and, of course, the Senior Bowl as well. AFC North draft grades continuing here. We've already done Cleveland. We've done Cincinnati. We've done Baltimore. So the winner of the AFC North, by default here, has to be the Pittsburgh Steelers. You got them a tick higher than Baltimore's draft class, huh, Jeremy?
I don't have them a tick higher. I have them as a legit A+.
Okay.
I have them as one of the three winners.
Loved everything they did.
I have them as one of the top three winners in the NFL. It's them, Philadelphia, and I've got one more that we'll talk about later in this here program.
Okay. A+ draft. They got Troy Fautanu at number 20 overall.
He's going to be a guard, I think. They may plan on playing. They announced him as a tackle, but I believe he will end up playing guard, and I think he can be a really, really good one. I don't see a path that he's going to play left tackle, but I said the same thing about Dan Moore, and I think the Steelers have done that for the last 17 years. So if anybody could make it work, it would be Pittsburgh. He's hyper athletic. And as soon as they made that pick, I looked at Tank on our live stream from Radio Row and said, you're about to see them go heavy on the offensive line. I did not think 3 of their first 5 picks would be offensive linemen, but they were. And I love all of it. That was one of my biggest drawbacks, is you have a mediocre quarterback room, bottom handful in the league, and you need to prop it up with a really good line and really good weapons, and you took care of the line. Weapons leaves still a little bit to be desired, but you got one that I like.
Yeah, pick 20 was Troy Fautanu from Washington. Then Zach Frazier, the center from West Virginia, was their second pick at 51 overall. Mason McCormick was another guard that they took out of South Dakota State at 119. And in the preliminary depth charting, all 3 of those guys are slotted in on some of the websites as the actual starters. Did they legit draft a starting guard at 119?
They may have. Hey, would you like to hear the list of guards in all of college football at any level that had a higher PFF grade than Mason McCormick?
Would love to.
You want to hear it again? He was 1, and it wasn't all that close.
Really?
He's legit. The problem with him could be level of competition. If they plan on putting Fautanu on the right, Broderick Jones on the left, Suamalo on the left at guard, McCormick on the right at guard, and then Zach Frazier at center, I'm fine with that, and that team is going to hurt your feelings running the ball.
They can also, they're going to try anyway. They're going to try to pass the ball. Russell Wilson or Justin Fields, whichever one is the quarterback, could get some good use out of Roman Wilson, wide receiver out of Michigan at 84 overall.
I thought he was going to go too high, and that was one of the reasons. That's one of the things that I feel like I do a bad job, in spite of the fact that I say it a lot, Everybody has a value. When I start talking about a guy that's not going to be able to separate or things like that I said with Roman Wilson, I'm talking about if they go at 35, which is where I had seen him, because that means you're being cast as a 1. At 84, he could be a 1, he could be a 2, he could be a 3. And on a team that has George Pickens, I know he's not going to be higher than the 2. That makes me really like that pick. Makes me really like the value. Really good hands. He did separate in college. As I watched him at the Senior Bowl, I wasn't sure that everything he did was replicable in the pros. But as low as they got him, there's really no downside to it.
And then they got another Wilson at 98 there at the end of the third round. We were waiting. When is Peyton Wilson going to come off the board? The linebacker out of NC State is just a ho-hum pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers late in the third round.
Well, the report came out that he has no ACL in one knee, and that is worrisome. The thing about that is that when things like that happen, the other ligaments in the knee get stronger. It does make you more susceptible to one of those going out as well. But at 97, I don't know that there's really any risk there. I mean, yeah, he could have injuries that hang him up his entire career. It didn't hang him up at NC State. I mean, he played, and he played reasonably consistently. There were injury issues. But coming in at this point, I can kind of mitigate some of the role. I would say he probably plays 50 to 60% of snaps moving forward to try to mitigate the fact that he doesn't have an ACL in that knee. I thought that was one of the value picks of the draft, and I didn't know that he had no ACL. I knew that the knee and the medical was really bothersome. So that sounds bad when you hear it. It's not really any worse than what I already thought.
And the only other 2 draft picks that we haven't mentioned were the 6th round picks, 178 overall, defensive lineman out of Iowa, Logan Lee, and Ryan Watts, the cornerback from Texas, with 195 overall.
Lee is really good against the run. I would say he's going to be a rotational piece in that front for Pittsburgh. They don't need him to play much, but he was really good against the run. And Ryan Watts is also really good against the run. One of the better run stopper corners in this class.
All right, A-plus draft for the Pittsburgh Steelers from Flostradamus. I got him. I had him at an A, and you convinced me to give him the plus. So they are the winners of the AFC North. A-plus grades for the Pittsburgh Steelers. One of the best drafts that we had in the 2024 NFL draft.
I loved everything they did. Sean Veenstra in our YouTube comments points out that Zach Frazier was a 4-time high school wrestling champion. They talked about that on the draft coverage. There are certain teams look for captains. Certain teams look for guys that were really productive in other sports. Pittsburgh is one that has leaned on wrestling guys for a long time. They kind of got away from it. That's where you got into the, I hate to keep throwing this guy under the bus, the Dan Moore era. Zach Frazier represents a really successful time in Pittsburgh history, and I think he will be phenomenal as a center. And I'm only kind of biased because he went to West Virginia.
Indeed. It is the Sportsocracy, the ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. We want to jump into the draft grades for the AFC East. The loser in the AFC East for the 2024 NFL Draft. Who do we start with?
Well, I mean, I think there's only one answer to that. I'm just curious if your answer is the same as mine.
I had the Buffalo Bills with the worst grade.
All right, we'll start with Buffalo. That ain't mine, but
that's not yours.
No, it's not mine.
Okay,
I'm gonna get called a hater,
and to see where you're going with this one.
We'll do Buffalo here. We'll take the break at the bottom of the hour, and we'll start the next hour with my team that had the worst grade. I'm gonna go on a little bit of a rant. I might yell a little bit. I don't dislike what Buffalo did. That's. I had a weird feeling you were going to say that. but I need you to tell me why. What is it you don't like
about their class?
Yes.
I mean, it's not anything specific I don't like about their class. I just think I liked the other classes in the division a little bit better. Like the pickup of Keon Coleman. Top pick in the second round. You were able to – I'm not saying I have a problem with it. I'm using this as like I don't really have a problem with this. He's a great receiver, and you picked up draft capital to move down out of the first round, which was kind of weird to me. Just the way that all went down, like you're in the hunt for a receiver, but yet you traded back and let somebody draft receivers in front of you. Actually, somebody's draft receivers in front of you. It's just a little weird.
They took severely less talented receivers than Buffalo did.
Yes, they did. Which I can't really knock you for.
I guess that's kind of my point. You got my fifth receiver at 33. And he was, I believe, the 8th receiver off the board. That's value. Like that.
Yes.
Next.
The safety pick at number 60 overall, Cole Bishop. Does he step right in, fill a need?
Okay, I'll be honest with you. I don't love Cole Bishop. There's only one thing that I will tell you. This safety class was awful. There's no safety in this class other than maybe Tyler Nubin that's more ready to play. He just doesn't have the super high upside. Buffalo needs a guy that can play right now. I couldn't take the risk with a Cameron Kinchins or I'm just trying to think of other ones that I saw talked about in this space because not every safety fits what Buffalo was looking for. Cole Bishop does. He can play right now. I'm totally fine with it. I don't know that he was worth a second-round pick, but you get into that the cost of having to fill a need that you have to fill right now. I don't love that you put yourself in that position, but I understand why you did that, and you got a player that can come in and play right away.
Yep. The third pick of the draft for them at 95 overall was Dwayne Carter, defensive lineman out of Duke. A-plus pick. Agreed. Ray Davis, running back from Kentucky. That one really didn't do much for me. He's a solid player. You need depth right behind James Cook.
You do. You needed a second running back that could be the more thunder to the lightning, and I think Ray Davis can do that. The beauty of him is that he doesn't tip your hand. James Cook is so good out of the backfield as a pass catcher that it can, if you're not careful, and we're going to talk about this with another team in this division, if you're not careful, you bring in the thumper back that couldn't catch a cold in a freezer if he was soaked in water. It really tips off when you're running. Ray Davis does not have that problem. I don't like taking running backs in the 4th round. I got it. I think that was the right one. And so for me, that's a B-ish pick. I'm fine with it.
Okay. Then Cedric Von Prawn Granger, 141 overall. Yeah, how did he fall that far?
He fell into that, does he actually have a position? A lot of teams don't love those guys. I call that Green Bay Packering, where you just see a player and go, hey, he's going to play somewhere. Green Bay does it more than anybody. Buffalo, they kind of do it too. He's a football player. We'll get him in the program. We'll figure out where he goes. I think he will ultimately be a center. Might take a year, but that's an A pick for me.
He can be the long-term Mitch Morse replacement.
I believe so, yes.
For Buffalo. All right, and then 2 more picks in the 5th round. Edifuan Ulafosio.
It's one of my favorite names in the draft. Edfuan Olodosio. Really wish he'd gone to the Baltimore Ravens or the Green Bay Packers because I would have loved hearing Olafosio for a long time. But he works in Buffalo. Look, he's hyper athletic. He didn't play a ton of snaps. So, I mean, he was a situational player in college, but he held up to a bigger role in the final year at Washington. I think he's just he gets into that speed, athleticism class. I think he'll be really good on special teams. I don't know that he will ever be a defensive contributor. But if he is, then that's a really solid pick in the 5th round.
Yep, 168. 8 picks later, they picked up Javon Solomon, linebacker out of Troy. And I know this is one of those I wish I'd have seen your face when that pick came across because
I said bad words.
You love that guy.
I said bad words. I liked him better with his hand down, but I will say this is an A with 7 pluses because the fact he went at 168 and on a YouTube stream this afternoon, I will talk about edge rushers that went in front of Javon Solomon that made blood come out of my ears. And then I see Buffalo take him and just go, of course you did. Of course that's what you did because you're going to put him out in the wide 9 with that 4-man front with Ed Oliver and Dwayne Carter and and AJ Epinesa, and you're just going to let him be a hellhound. And he's going to drive me crazy for the next 10 years. That was one of the best picks of the draft.
6th round, they had 2 picks there. Tylen Grable, tackle out of UCF. Daquan Hardy, corner out of Penn State. And then they wrapped it all up at 221 overall with Travis Clayton, an international pathway program pick out of England.
Yeah, for the international pathway guy, Clayton, for every Jordan Mailata, I can give you about 100 guys whose name you don't know. I don't love that we had 2 of those picks because those dudes are so raw. I mean, he was a rugby player. It's fine. This class, if it was ever going to happen, this class makes sense. Grable and Clayton they fit the athletic profile. They're super raw. You put them in mothballs for 2 years and hope in year 3 you have something come out of it. Daquan Hardy, the corner out of Penn State, was probably the best kick returner, punt returner in this class other than Aeneas Smith. I think it's awesome value. I'm going to be honest with you. Buffalo's an A for me.
An A?
It's an
okay.
A. It's an A.
Awesome.
It's an A.
Good. I had him with a B+. So we weren't too far off, I guess.
I love that Buffalo class. I hate seeing teams in my own division have classes this good, but Buffalo did. And, do I think it's going to save them with Stephon Diggs being gone? No, because the AFC is just so damn good. But I do feel like a year or 2 years from now, we'll look back on this and go, man, they added a lot of pieces to that team. They got the cap space right, and they were able to go get whoever the next one is. I don't think they're Super Bowl contenders this year. I do think they're playoff contenders this year. And this is a class that it really restored my faith in Buffalo.
Yeah, Veenstra says we were both higher on this class than he was. So
I had a feeling you were going to be a little lower on it than me, but I know there's another class in this division that I'm going to be lower on than you.
I have a feeling we're going to talk about that one next. Coming up here in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville after the top of the hour, AFC draft grades continue as we get to the next team in the AFC East. Clear.
Well, we got 5 minutes here.
The new orange dreamsicle front.
Yeah.
Sweet.
We pushed that one a little far.
Oh, yeah, we did. That's fine. Just keep it all together and tell me how long I got. I'm going to go find a sandwich or something. I'm about to
Dare I
starve.
say, it's new timey. It's the flavor you grew up with.
Amy came in and heated up her
all
lunch,
grown
and now
up. Head
all I
over
can
to your
think about
local
is
Wendy's
food.
establishment and get yours while supplies last. The new orange dreamsicle frosty. Here for the now, for now.
Limited time only at participating Wendy's.
In this week's Marketers Report, Dana Nussbaum, Executive Vice President, Worldwide Marketing at Warner Brothers Discovery, weighs in on regional audio marketing.
Although we're marketing at a very broad scale, it does include specific local markets, and that's the beauty of iHeart's network.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia gives marketers access to the audiences, influencers, and data you need to grow. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartResults.com.
Progressive knows finding your new home was a dream come true. You wanted a colonial with high ceilings, hardwood floors, and a peaceful neighborhood. And you found it. Now, every Saturday at 6 a.m., you get to wake to the sound of your neighbor's leaf blower. Progressive can't save you from your noisy neighbors, but we can save you money when you bundle your home and auto with us. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers, not available in all states.
Did you know Ingalls only sells USDA Choice and Prime cuts of meat? Maybe it's time to reward yourself. Our butchers cut all our meat fresh in the store every day. Grass-fed, organic, you name it. Not only that, we'll even cut it to order just the way you like it. And we grind meat fresh in the store multiple times a day. It's all in the bag. That's the best meat in town for the best folks in town. Ingalls, low prices, love the savings.
We're back counting down to kickoff. Let's look at today's 3 keys to premium pre-gaming with Beast Unleashed, presented by Monster Brewing. Number 1, beat the heat.
Unleash the beast with bold, familiar flavors, 0 caffeine and 0 sugar.
Number 2, running the option.
There's 4 to choose from: White Haze, Peach Perfect, Scary Berries, and my personal favorite, Mean Green.
And number 3, at 6% ABV, Max Protect.
Always drink responsibly, and you must be 21 or over.
Beast Unleashed, available at your local retailer.
From the Ingalls Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Bit of damp weather around this afternoon. Hopefully you packed along the rain gear. If not, well, you're going to get wet. A few scattered showers around, maybe a thunderstorm. Obviously a better opportunity if you are moving around. Low 70s. I don't think everybody gets rain, at least for every hour of the afternoon. Scattered showers, a few thunderstorms tonight, tapering off after midnight 53. But we will have some fog to deal with on Wednesday morning, then some sunshine close to 80. Thursday looks beautiful, plenty of sun, low 80s. From the Weather Channel, meteorologist Ray Stajic.
This report is sponsored by Apple Tree Superstore.
Go check out the all-new Apple Tree Advantage at the Apple Tree Automotive Superstore. It's your home for brand new Hondas, brand new Acuras, and a wide selection of local trade-ins. It's the all-new Apple Tree Advantage at the Apple Tree Automotive Superstore. Online at appletreesuperstore.com and located at I-26 at Airport Road, Asheville.
Look at all the complaints that our competitors have on their BBB ratings. GimmeTheVin.com is a 5-star rated company. We do what we say we're going to do. It's that easy.
Sell us your car. GimmeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
The roof is the most important part of the home, and this month ESPN Asheville and Balkan Roofing are giving one away free of charge. Through April, go to ESPNAVL.com and click on the Balkan Roofing's Roofing for a Reason. Follow the link to nominate a homeowner in need of a new roof and why they should be our winner. At the end of the month, one iHeart Asheville winner will be selected. Make your nominations again at ESPNAVL.com. Roofing for a Reason with Balkan Roofing.
Tired of being overweight and frustrated with diets that never work? You've probably heard all about
1 minute.
For bringing life-changing results for millions. If you've thought about this exciting option, you need to call QC Kinetics today. QC Kinetics Weight Loss Protocol gives you access to these exciting injectables that can deliver remarkable results. The medically trained weight loss professionals at QC Kinetics have a comprehensive program. Includes using semaglutide and tirzepatide injections with in-clinic supervision and personalized care. Stop struggling and jumpstart your weight loss journey now. QC Kinetics makes these promising new injectables more accessible and more affordable, making your goals more attainable than ever before. Call now to learn more about this next-generation weight loss option that can change your life. Let the trusted medical professionals at QC Kinetics find out if you're a candidate now. Lose the extra pounds once and for all. Call now for your free consultation. 833-QCK-SLIM. 833-QCK-SLIM. 833-QCK-SLIM.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Bills. That's bills. Enter it now.
Log on now to ESPNAVL.com.
The Sportsocracy.
It fires me up, man. I love it. Say it one more time.
The Sportsocracy.
Shake it back!
Beer City's best sports talk.
It is gross.
Just earlier.
They are mature, actually. You just have to get to know them better.
Your lunchtime dose of dumbassery. Live from the Ingalls studio.
We are back in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, 1400. Tuesday after the NFL draft, wrapping up NFL draft grades. AFC teams today. We did the NFC teams yesterday. If you missed that episode, you can go back and check it out on the podcast. We're working our way through the AFC East. We did the Buffalo Bills first, but that is not the Flostradamus lowest grade in the AFC East. Flostradamus, who is your worst draft grade for this division?
The New England Patriots.
Oh,
oh, shoot.
What didn't you like about the draft?
Well, I mean, look, Drake May, that was the right call. And then from there, name me the guy you feel really good about from there. I'll wait.
Jalen Polk, you don't feel good about him?
At 37? Are you smoking crimes? I liked him. He's going to come into New England. Name me the receivers that New England has that will play ahead of him.
I'm sorry, say that again. You blipped out on it.
Name me the receivers that New England has that will play ahead of Jalen Polk.
That will play ahead of him? Mm-hmm. Davis. Right. Demario Davis.
You're talking about Demario Douglas.
Demario
Davis
Douglas
plays linebacker for the Saints.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Demario Douglas is a slot receiver.
Right.
It's maybe Kendrick Bourne. Maybe. So now you have Kendrick Bourne, Demario Douglas, and Jalen Polk as the three receivers that Drake May is going to consistently be throwing to, with Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper and Ramondre Stevenson. Name me which one of those guys actually separates. Oh, yeah, it's none of them. It's absolutely none of them. Demario Douglas can't out of the slot unless you get up in his face, and we saw that at the end of last year. So now you have a quarterback whose biggest drawback was that tight window throws, sometimes he makes real bad decisions. And you just gave him a whole wide receiver room where nobody gets open consistently. Good luck with that. I genuinely would tell you right now, Tyson Carter says Brissett will be the quarterback this year and Drake won't play. I'll believe that when I see it. Because the first time Jacoby Brissett comes out and throws 3 interceptions, New England fans will lose their minds. And they'll rush Drake May in. I'm so sure of that. I would almost bet my house that he's starting for the New England Patriots by the first week in November.
No doubt about it.
Bill Buttigieg just said the Jets have Garrett Wilson and Tank at receiver. The Jets have 4 receivers that would be the 2 for the New England Patriots. They have 3 that would be the 1. Mike Williams, Garrett Wilson, and Malachi Corley are literally better than any receiver you have.
Mm-hmm.
I knew he was going to say that, so I was already prepared. It's just you have set this kid up to fail. You have set Drake May up to fail. I watched you do it. And all I could think was, man, if this was your goal, why did you not just trade down and take Bo Nix? Take Bo Nix or Michael Penix, although he went so high that you probably wouldn't have the option.
Because you start somewhere, right? And I'm at 3. I'm not trading down to miss out on Drake May for what I might get next year.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Drake May is a franchise quarterback, and I thought it was a great pick.
No Smile said you don't even know if Malachi Corley is going to be good. I like him, but he's got question marks. You're right. I also don't know that Jalen Polk's going to be good, and I know he's going to be counted on to be the 2, if not the 1. That's my point. That's the whole point.
Yep.
That's what the draft is coming up with. You got to play the percentages here of where can you put yourself in the best position to succeed. I'm not telling you that this can't work. I would say that's about a 3% chance because you don't have anybody that takes the top off of defense. What does that lead to? Stacked boxes on Ramondre Stevenson that forces this into the hands of Drake May. This is exactly what I was scared of when we talked about Drake May going to New England. It was the number one thing I was afraid of, and then you drafted poorer than I could have thought you would.
All right, so I'm guessing you didn't like Caden Wallace at the third round.
I very rarely like taking 7th-round picks in the 3rd round. I mean, it's super rare. He had. I'm going to read you, my buddy Trevor Sikkema. I'm going to read you verbatim what he said about Caden Wallace in their draft grades. He may be coming off a season that saw him earn a career high 68.8 PFF grade, but he was solid in pass protection last year, earning a 72.8 pass blocking grade. You took that in the 3rd round. First of all, he's a guard. Just throwing that out there. He's a guard, he's a guard, he's a guard, he's a guard. And he's not a particularly good one at that. Now, would you like to just I don't know if you have this pulled up. Can you think of maybe any offensive lineman that went after that would make, I don't know, a lot more sense?
I'm going to guess Christian Mahogany's on that list.
Christian Mahogany is on that list. I was talking specifically about tackles. Kyron Amageji went 7 picks later. Dominic Pooney went, I don't know, half a round later. Matt Goncalves, Javon Foster, Christian Jones. Every single one of those guys was rated higher. To anybody with an IQ above salad dressing. Kingsley Suamateo went 5 picks ahead of that. Which one you feel better about? You can call me a hater, and I know it's coming. New England did the exact same thing in this draft they did with Bill Belichick for 20 years.
Reach after reach after reach.
There's not a player, not one, outside of Yaheem Bell, who was the last pick they had, that's not a reach. Layden Robinson, you took him to be a guard. Okay. And he didn't give up a lot of sacks. You do realize that wasn't a team that threw a ton, right? Like, you get that they haven't had a quarterback in years. Javon Baker, okay. There's a guy that can get downfield. He also comes out of a spread offense that I have absolutely no idea if he can even play in the NFL at this point. I'm not saying he won't a year from now. I don't know that he can run a route. Marcellus Dial, I will give you that. I like him. I like him a lot. I don't know what position he's going to play in New England. Some people were thinking he was going to have to move to safety. Then you went Joe Milton and Yaheem Bell. Can anybody in any way explain to me how it made sense taking Joe Milton? I'll wait.
How I don't know. The long-term backup play?
If he's your long-term backup,
it's the best
you're
I got.
bad, period. If he's your 2, you're awful. Joe Milton, I didn't have a draftable grade on, but he's got a huge arm. So did Jamarcus Russell. Whoop-de-doo. That's the only thing you have. That's it, because he was awful. Literally, I sat in a crowd of scouts watching Joe Milton, and I'm not going to say names here. We stood in a crowd watching him going, I do not understand how any team could possibly fall for that, because that kid could not hit the broadside of the ocean. It's a bad class. For me, Gary Busey.
Wow.
And it might be the worst one of the 3. If it wasn't for Michael Penix at 8, I could make the argument that class is worse than Atlanta. Atlanta at least got a couple players in slot. New England got nobody in slot. And you can call me a hater. That's fine. We will never talk about this New England class until 3 years from now when we regrade it. You're going to see it my way 3 years from now. I promise you that. I promise you that.
Okay. All right, a full Gary Busey for the New England Patriots from Flostradamus.
I didn't really let you get a word in edgewise there. So what were your thoughts on the class?
No, you're good. No, you're good. I didn't have real problems with the class. They got a B+ from me.
They got a B+ from you?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to need you to explain
I love
that.
Drake May, and I really like Jalen Polk. Those were 2 picks that I had no issues with.
Do you like Jalen Polk as their 2? Because just remember, I like Jalen Polk too. I hate this fit.
Yeah. No, I mean, you clearly don't have a great wide receiver room, but you added to it, right? I mean, you added a good player to that room, and that's the best I can ask you to do at this point. I don't have any other way to inject talent into that room other than through the draft.
All right, so
should
I
they
didn't
have
plan
taken
to do this.
who should have been the pick there?
Okay, I didn't plan on doing this, but I can.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, just looking at I will go through every New England pick. Where they took Jalen Polk, A.D. Mitchell was the next receiver to go off the board. Which one's better?
Okay. A.D. Mitchell.
And it's not even kind of close. Legitimately, it's not even worth talking about. Let's go. Caden Wallace. You had Cooper Beebe and Kyron Amagaji go off just a handful of picks later.
Mm-hmm.
Caden Wallace even belong in that discussion? No.
No, not to me.
He doesn't. Layden Robinson, you had Troy Franklin go one pick ahead of that. That's the level of player you were getting. Brandon Dorlus went right after it. Tez Walker went after Javon Baker, excuse me. Sorry, I combined 4 names right there. That's the sign of a really bad class. When no team in the NFL would have taken the guys that you took where you took them, it's a bad sign.
Yep.
No Smile said
All
a
right,
bunch of teams passed on A.D. Mitchell. Did you happen to see the response from Chris Ballard when he was asked why teams passed on him?
No, what'd he say?
I would love to play it on this show, but I don't have a beep button that I can hit that often. We don't have national ESPN budget, so I have to physically put in the beeps, and it would have just been one great big long beep. It went around that he had some kind of character issue. Everybody bought into it, and it's flat out not true. If Chris Ballard, who's been in this league for a real long time, is that willing to go to bat for a guy, I'm going to go out on a limb and say a lot of us are going to regret passing on A.D. Mitchell. Just a thought.
Very well could. He wouldn't have got past me in the draft, but apparently he did get past the New England Patriots, who again earned themselves a Gary Busey from @ESPN Draft Nerd, Jeremy Greene. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we will continue with the AFC East draft grades here in the Sportsocracy.
It's the Marketer's Report. Today,
and you're clear.
Thank you. Oh, can I? My mic's completely off, right?
Capital One has really worked to create amazing access.
Yeah.
Radio side? Okay. No Smiles in our YouTube comment said, what has Ballard done for his voice to be law? I didn't say it was law. What's he done in the NFL? Exponentially more than Elliott Wolf has.
Card holders can get access to, and we can't pull that off
without that's kind of my point, is that Elliott Wolf came in here, and I don't know what this was. I love the dude. I think he's really bright. But this draft was terrible.
Create those moments.
Reconnect to the brick, please.
Reconnect?
Into that.
Media.
We're losing connection.
To all, from national to local.
That better?
Every audience, live conversations, trusted influencers, and
we shall see.
Not just a media company. iHeartMedia is your access company. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartResults.com.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the mountains, you need to call the agents at Clarissa Sells WNC, brokered by eXp Realty. Check us out online at ClarissaSellsWNC.com. And did I mention that Clarissa Sells WNC loves teachers? We love teachers so much, we're giving back 25% of our commission at closing. For more information, contact us today at 828-774-6343 or ClarissaSellsWNC@gmail.com.
At Ingalls, we're proud to work with hundreds of local farms and businesses in the communities we call home. Not only does it ensure that you get top-quality, fresh items for your family table, it's a way for us to support the amazing individuals who pour their heart and soul into delivering the very best they can do. Quality, freshness, community, it's all in the bag. Ingalls, low prices, love the savings.
We're back counting down to kickoff. Let's look at today's 3 keys to premium pre-gaming with Beast Unleashed, presented by Monster Brewing. Number 1, beat the heat.
Unleash the beast with bold, familiar flavors, 0 caffeine and 0 sugar.
Number 2, running the option.
There's 4 to choose from: White Haze, Peach Perfect, Scary Berries, and my personal favorite, Mean Green.
And number 3, at 6% ABV, Max Protect.
Always drink responsibly, and you must be 21 or over.
Beast Unleashed, available at your local retailer.
The Sportsocracy.
These guys are a f***ing disgrace.
It is ESPN Asheville, the Sportsocracy. Back on 92.9, live from the Ingalls studio. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Jeremy Greene. He is live from Mullet Manor.
You know what I've discovered about Mullet Manor?
coverage.
I get caught in commercial breaks with a chicken nugget in my mouth way more often from Mullet Manor than I do from the studio.
It's because you don't have the visual cue of me putting the headphones on and getting ready to come back from the break. So
I had literally just thrown
those last few in there.
I had literally just thrown a big dollop of Chick-fil-A sauce on this plate. As soon as I heard that rejoiner, and it just went, oh, I gotta wait like 10 minutes for that chicken.
We are wrapping up our initial thoughts on the 2024 NFL draft with our draft grades. All the AFC teams. We're in the AFC East. We've done New England, which Jeremy gives a Gary Busey for their draft haul. None of the
sausage.
There,
what's it doing on the plate? Get it all.
If you're just joining us, none of the players drafted, he says, matched their draft slot. They reached on everybody. The Buffalo Bills got a B+. And the Miami Dolphins, where do they slot in?
Miami has a difficult class for me to gauge. Not because, and I'll go ahead and tell you, Miami has my highest draft grade in the AFC East.
Oh, do they?
They do.
Okay. Throwing a curveball on me again.
They do. I mean, how would you not? You got Chop Robinson. One of their biggest needs going in for me was an edge rusher because I really don't know what they're going to do without Bradley Chubb, without Jalen Phillips. You got Patrick Paul in the second round, who to me, if you develop him correctly, is not just the replacement to Teron Armstead, but could end up being exactly like Teron Armstead. So you could not miss a beat. Jalen Wright, did I think it was a little bit of a reach? Do I like that you traded up? No, but guess what? You just added unabashed speed at running back again. Muhammad Kamara in the 5th round, probably my favorite pick of the class. The two Washingtons at wide receiver, you got one in the 6th, one in the 7th. Patrick McMorris was a reach, but that's the only one on the board. You tell me where I'm wrong in anything I just said.
You're not wrong in anything that you just said. They did. I mean, they killed the first 4 picks of the draft for me. You know me on the deeper round guys. I'll take your word on the Washingtons. Malik Washington out of Virginia and Taj Washington, both wide receivers. Taj out of USC. Chop Robinson was a great pick, I thought. I mean, we were all kind of expecting them to go with offensive linemen, not knowing that they were going to get Patrick Paul in the second round. And then Jalen Wright, as you mentioned, Mohamed Kamara, we saw him at the Combine just tear it up in the underwear Olympics. So I get you. So you gave him an A+?
They were an A for me. I didn't go A+ just solely because there's no pick that I just go, that's an absolute home run. Everything was right. And Miami's going unabashed, no forgiveness, just all the speed we can get. Kamara's the one that I would say he's really, really, really good. The only problem is I don't think he's ever going to hold up against the run.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm trying to nitpick right now. I only gave out 3 A+, so I didn't quite feel like Miami deserved one, but they were right outside of it.
Right. But Mohamed Kamara, is he? I mean, are he and Chop are both stand-up guys in this defense?
Yes, they are to me.
Wow. I mean, I'm just looking at the depth chart here. If that is the case, with all of the ability that they're going to have to get after quarterbacks, Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips when they're healthy, along with Shaq Barrett, along with Chop Robinson, along with Mo Kamara, that's a lot of talent to just just throw at enemy quarterbacks.
It's a lot. The other thing that knocked them off an A is that they had 2 pass rushers, and 2 of my 3 favorite picks of yours were pass rushers. So now, yes, you do have 4, but you also have other needs that you did not in any way address.
Mm-hmm.
But the players you did draft, that's kind of hard for me to say anything negative about.
Right. So the official draft grade is A+?
A.
Just A.
Just A.
Just an A. All right, and then that brings us to your team. The New York Football Jets.
I'm going to let you give your grade, and then I'll give mine. Because in the chat, people already feel like they know what I'm getting ready to say.
Well, we can kind of imagine where you're going, knowing what we all know about you and the coverage leading up to this. When we saw Malachi Corley come to this team in the 3rd round, we knew you were going to be touched in a special place.
This not his name.
So we know you love that one.
That's not his name.
Well, I'm sorry. What is his name?
Malachi Corley from now on will be referred to on this show exclusively as Yak God.
Yak God.
Yak God.
Malachi Corley. Okay. So they get the Yak God in the 3rd round.
Did you see the text between Saleh and Joe Douglas?
I did.
Going into day 2, they literally
day.
went full draft day. Joe Douglas sent a picture to Robert Saleh of Malachi Corley and then sent a text underneath that said, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was really cool, personally.
It was pretty cool. And the fact that he got the same response, yes, no matter what. We're all on the same page. He will belong to the New York Jets. And they fulfilled their destiny there. The 11th pick overall, with Ola Fashanu, when much of the industry was expecting you to go tight end with Brock Bowers to add that extra weapon for Aaron Rodgers, they smartly went with the tackle to protect Aaron Rodgers. Because the more and more I thought about it, the more I thought, well, why should this have gone any other way other than to get a young pass blocker for Aaron Rodgers when I have surrounded him with ancient, oft-injured talent?
It
was a safety net pick and a future pick, and to me that made the value of that pick greater.
I would agree. Look, I was sad at first that they didn't take Brock Bowers because I was looking at just another toy. Hey, we got another toy for Aaron Rodgers to play with. But then the more I thought about Fashanu, I went home. I thought, had some self-reflection. There's a great chance that Tyron Smith is going to miss some time this year. There's a decent shot that Morgan Moses is going to miss some time this year. I'm not going to say you won't miss a beat, but you have a legit NFL offensive tackle, and you have a left tackle for the next 10 years. You compared him to DeBrickashaw Ferguson during the process, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think that was exactly the right pick. Now, is there part of me that thinks you could have traded down and still got him? Yes. Did I want to risk that? Not really.
No.
Especially knowing that teams were blowing the phones up on the Raiders and now Denver to try to get up for Brock Bowers.
Mm-hmm. And then in the fourth round, the Braylon Allen pick.
I love that
I do like Wisconsin running backs. And
well, it's kind of hard to not like Braylon Allen because he's got more tread on the tires than any running back in the class. He's 20 years old. He's built like a semi. And there's another thing. I saw Bill Belichick. I saw him in the comments say, well, you drafted 2 running backs on a team that already has 2. You're right. But there's one thing that Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis do better than any 2 running backs in this class, not named Kamani Vidal. Tank, would you like to take a stab at what that is?
Pass block.
Pass pro. Did you see what Braylon Allen put on Twitter as soon as he got drafted? It was a highlight clip video of him from YouTube in pass protection. And the text was to Aaron Rodgers, and it said, I'm going to make sure you're able to play for 10 more years if you want to.
Yes.
Yeah, I understand why you made that pick. Did I love Isaiah Davis? Kind of a hat on a hat, but I do think that actually screams to they missed on Israel Bonaconda because they have an offensive scheme change happening this year. So I'm not positive they had 2 running backs. I think they had 1, and Bonaconda might be your 4. So I get why they did it. I didn't love it. It's fine. Isaiah Davis, also really good in pass pro, and he was really, really good at making people miss.
Yep. Those top 3 picks got you into the A territory for me. And then I threw a little minus on it with the Jordan Travis.
Oh, you take Jordan Travis as a minus?
I mean, you were close. So, okay, you were at B+ territory with those 3 picks, and then I bumped you up a little bit.
Oh, you bumped him up. You sounded like you bumped him down for Jordan Travis.
No, it did the way I said it. That was my fault. I was more at almost to A territory. That's how I should have said that. And then you got the A- with the Jordan Travis pick.
I love the fact that the Jets drafted Jordan Travis. And I'll be honest with you, that's 100% self-serving. I don't know that he ever throws a pass in the NFL. He's such a good dude that having him in the locker room will be a plus. And I can tell you this. Hey, Tank, how many times did I tell you the Jets were drafting Jordan Travis?
A couple.
Yeah, you know why? A couple. Because that was, at 171, the least surprising pick in the NFL draft for me. Let's just say a little birdie told me that was coming. I wasn't surprised, and they love him.
Right.
Love him.
So you had Jordan Travis at 171, then Isaiah Davis at 173, 176 in the 5th round, Quantez Stiggers from the Toronto Argonauts. I don't know that I've seen that too many times.
So he was a kid that played no college football. His dad got killed. He was going to Lane, I believe, and his dad got killed, and he had to drop out and support the family. Wound up going to the Fan Control Football League. He was the defensive MVP there. Got offered a deal in the CFL. Was the defensive rookie of the year in the CFL. And because he never played pro football, he was eligible to be selected in this draft. He's only the 3rd CFL player to ever be selected in the modern NFL draft. Because you have to take a very weird path to get there. I love this kid. Now, do I think corner is a need? Not in any way. But I'm not mad that you brought in talent. I'm just not.
I was going to say at that point, if you find a dude in the 5th round that you think could develop into a corner or a good solid piece, then you take it. Right? Regardless of the depth.
No doubt. No doubt. I mean, and he's one, I will be honest with you, something that I think you can glean from all of the social mediaing that these teams do. Watch the reactions in the room when guys get drafted. Quantez Stiggers brought everybody in the room to tears. That should tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
That should tell you there were scouts, there were position coaches, there were guys that were beating the table telling Joe Douglas to go get this guy. He may not work out. We have not seen him against any level of competition because I'll be honest with you, I think the CFL in terms of competition is somewhere between the MAC and the Sun Belt. So the fact you were Defensive Rookie of the Year there does not really mean a lot to me.
Mm-hmm.
But you got a shot. You got a shot.
New York Jets, 2024 NFL draft class. My grade was an A-. Yours, Flostradamus?
Also an A-.
Also an A-.
I loved all the picks. Do I love all the values? No. You traded around. You got a third-round pick for next year, which I love. I almost put them in an A looking at that 2025 third-round pick from the Lions. But I knew I'd get called a homer if I did. So, you know, they got the coach's kid knock. Coach's kid gets yelled at a little bit more than everybody else. I'm a Jet fan.
Yep.
That would have probably been an A if it was another team. I give it an A- in the effort of fairness.
Time for another break here in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville, coming to you from the Ingles studio as well as Mullet Manor. We will continue with the AFC draft grades up after the break. Still got the West and the South to go.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast.
You're clear.
Thank you.
Bit of damp weather around this afternoon. Hopefully you packed along the rain gear. If not, well, you're going to get wet. A few scattered showers around, maybe a thunderstorm. Obviously a better opportunity if you are moving around. Low 70s. I don't think everybody gets rain, at least for every hour of the afternoon. Scattered showers, a few thunderstorms tonight, tapering off after midnight, 53. But we will have some fog to deal with on Wednesday morning.
Friends
some
here this
sunshine,
weekend.
close to 80.
So
Thursday
Amy
looks
ordered
beautiful,
some like
plenty of sun, low
gigantic
80s.
Chick-fil-A
From the
party
Weather Channel
platter.
meteorologist race
I
station.
swear to you, I have
This
200
report is
Chick-fil-A chicken
sponsored
nuggets
by
in my refrigerator right
Allstate.
Nice.
Rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate, not one based on anyone else. So if
Can I come do crimes at your place later?
good to know. Visit allstate.com or
Yeah, you
call
can
for
sit
a
out
quote
on the
today.
blanket on the
When
patio.
optimistic Billy Halpern meets a suspicious end, authorities
Hell yeah.
turn
There's 3
criminal.
blankets out on my patio. I'm
Investigation
not
goes
100%
nowhere
sure
for
why.
decades. Listen to the podcast Cold Blooded as 2 investigators uncover a shocking motive in the pursuit of justice for Billy.
You had teenagers at your house this weekend. I'm pretty sure you can figure it out.
Eve, that date took us from us.
Listen to Cold Blooded on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and search Cold Blooded to start listening.
Don't sweat a swing and miss thanks to insurance tokens from BetMGM.
Because it was either more nefarious stuff going on that blanket, or they were doing the same thing that you invited me to do.
To a specified
Both
maximum
are
amount.
entirely
Only at
possible,
BetMGM,
Jack.
the
Both are
king of
entirely
sports
possible.
an official sports betting partner.
I go, somebody walks up with 200 chicken nuggets. I go, how the hell am I going to get rid of these? Oh, yeah.
North Carolina only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility
Aqua
requirements. Awards are
Teen,
non-withdrawable
Hunger
bonus.
Force.
Who wants to go bowling?
777185543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
That dog does not want to be petted.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Did you know Ingles only sells USDA Choice and Prime cuts of meat? Maybe it's time to reward yourself. Our butchers cut all our meat fresh in the store every day. Grass-fed, organic, you name it. Not only that, we'll even cut it to order just the way. And
There it
grind
is.
meat fresh in
Was
the
there a
store
full-blown
multiple
fight in the
times a day.
chat? I didn't see
It's
it.
all in the bag.
Yeah, Hugh and who else was going back and forth with Hugh?
Love the savings.
Was it Evan or Bill? I can't remember. I think it was Bill.
Very godly. Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me?
I was waiting for one of them to call the other one a cuck.
Stains disappear. WNC Auto Detailing.
I'd have laughed a lot.
Exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern
They can't hear us on the radio.
Showtime's
Yeah, they cannot hear us on the radio.
ownership by an
It's a little
Asheville
added
native
bonus
to
of
better
watching
serve our
on
community
YouTube.
with the finest custom apparel and unique branded items at the
I
best
didn't see
price.
any of the fight
Showtime
because
Sports
I
and
was,
Mountain Graphics can customize
Amy was
whatever
here.
you, your team, business, or
And no
local
matter
group
how
may
much
need through
imploring I
high-quality
gave
screen
her,
printing,
4
embroidery,
minutes
and
was
laser
not
engraving
enough for
right here in
anything that
Asheville.
I was trying
Free
to
personal
do.
delivery within Buncombe County and a reduced delivery fee anywhere in Western North Carolina. Visit ShowtimeSportsAVL.com
At least to her.
and Mountain Graphics AVL.com.
For me, I could have
Your
gone twice.
one-stop custom apparel shops.
The Sportsocracy.
Pull up your pants, take off the bra, and be a man.
It is the Sportsocracy live on ESPN Asheville. Wrapping up thoughts from the 2024 NFL Draft. Another big shout out to Ingles Supermarkets for making our little dreams come true here in the Sportsocracy, sending us all over the country in this offseason. Mobile, Alabama first, as Jeremy and Mullet Sr. went to the Senior Bowl, then the trip to the Combine in Indianapolis, and then both of us coming off of the Detroit trip that we're still trying to recover from. There have been some comments in the YouTube about the bags under Jeremy's eyes. Hopefully those will be going away here in a couple of days.
I'll tell you right now, there's a hibernation coming. My bed is across the building I'm sitting in right now. Whoo, buddy, there is a nap coming.
Mullet needs a nice little siesta, and we'll be getting it. We will be back with you on Monday after today. We're going to take a nice little 5-day weekend here just to regroup, recharge the batteries, and get right back at it for the off-season event. I've already had a draft begin, Jeremy.
Stop drafting fantasy teams so early.
I've already got one going. One of those dang slow drafts that takes 12 hours per pick. Crazy. Anyhow, fantasy season has already begun for some of us. After following the 2024 NFL Draft, we'll have all of your fantasy content right here in the Sportsocracy.
I mean, does that mean we should start
off-season.
talking about fantasy football stuff in June when I come back in earnest?
I would. I mean, I think so.
I mean, I feel like the listeners of this show are going to respond to that better than we're going to break down the half-court trap of the Denver Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals.
Your Nuggies are going to be just fine. They don't need us to talk about them. They're going to win.
They don't need me to watch them either.
Yeah, that's quite obvious. Already moving on to the next round. Dispatching of the Los Angeles Lakers. Sad Brian was in here earlier, just lamenting.
Did you play Sarah McLachlan? If you didn't play Sarah McLachlan, we are going to fight right now.
Nah, he came in during a segment, and I couldn't give him the whole show.
God, that would have been hilarious if he just walked in the door and you started with, "I will remember you. Will you remember me?"
Oh, so sad. We are rolling through the AFC draft grades here on today's program before the mini break before we return next week. The AFC North, AFC East, we've already rolled through. You want to go South or West next?
It's up to you.
All right, let's go AFC South. To me, the lowest grade, always start from the bottom. Now we're here. To me, the lowest grade in the AFC South was the Tennessee Titans. Did you have the same?
I did. I do have that. It's hard.
Was this another Gary Busey?
I did not go Gary Busey on Tennessee because they took Devondre Sweat in the second round. I really like Jarvis Brownlee. J.C. Latham, I keep going back to what Havoc said, who's one of our great Tennessee Titan fan friends. They said he was Bill Callahan's #1 tackle in the class. If that's true, and I don't know it to be true, I haven't researched it. Frankly, he could have told me he was abducted by aliens. He's never done it before, so I'm taking him at his word. That kind of makes me think, okay, well, maybe there's something there. I don't know what it would be because I don't see a left tackle at all. But maybe I don't just crush it. I don't like it, and I don't have to like it. But the Chargers were fully prepared to do it if there was no Joe Alt. So,
yes.
I mean, look, he is an imposing dude. And I think he would make a great right tackle, which is kind of his fallback. If Bill Callahan's wrong and they can't put him on the left side, he's going to be a good right tackle. I just don't like the value.
Mm-hmm. 7 felt a little high, although 5 felt really high when that rumor was going around that the Chargers were going to do it. So I guess I had kind of, prepared myself that J.C. Latham was going to go too high. And then when he went off 7, it kind of softened the blow a little bit for me.
Rand Carthon went full Home Alone. This is a term I'm going to use in drafting now. They took J.C. Latham at 7. They forgot a teen because it should have been 17.
All right.
See what I did there? Forgot a teen.
Yeah, forgot a teen. Yeah,
Kevin McAllister.
I get it. Yeah, he wasn't quite a teen at that point, but yeah, it still works.
I don't know. Macaulay Culkin, he went from like 12 to 40 in 9 days.
Trust me, for him, it was a long, arduous road to 40.
And now he looks
Have
like
you seen
Meth
him lately?
Burrow.
Meth Burrow.
I mean,
he does. He does.
He looks like Joe Burrow if Joe Burrow's parents hadn't sent him to that camp he wanted to go to.
Oh. J.C. Latham at 7. T'Vondre Sweat at 38. The T'Vondre Sweat pick definitely lifted the grade here for me. That was a nice little comeback. And then Cedric Gray in the 4th round. You know how I feel about him.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a plus pick. And then Jaquan Jackson, 6th round. Watched a little tape on that guy.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. With Tennessee, it's hard for me to dislike any pick outside of the first one.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, do you look at that list and dislike any pick on it except the first one?
No.
I don't either. That's why I didn't go Gary Busey on Tennessee. I went C+. I don't love your first pick, and it's hard to be below a B. If I love your first pick, it's hard to be above a B minus if I hated your first pick.
That's wild. That's actually one I was harder on him than you were. I went C-.
I originally
just because you
had
stepped
a
out of line with JC.
I originally had a C-. And then I kept looking at the other 6 players they added, and I like them all.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were every pick they made was great value. And I just couldn't have it any lower.
Okay. All right, let's go finish out the hour here with the Jacksonville Jaguars. They were next on my list.
All right, what was your grade on Jacksonville?
I gave them a C+.
Yeah, this is one where you were nicer than I was.
Okay.
Because I gave him a big old duh.
Oh, did you?
I did. I hate practically everything they did.
Really? Brian Thomas, you don't like it?
I like Brian Thomas.
Okay.
End of message.
Mason Smith?
Okay.
What don't you like about the fit with Mason Smith there?
All right, let me just ask you a question. And
yeah,
you can take this as me asking you a question about Mason Smith, or you can take it as just a question that I wanted to ask you. If you met a girl and for, I don't know, 8 minutes of a date, she was just a smoke show, just everything you ever wanted, and then she lit up a crack pipe at the table, would you call that a good date, or would you be looking for the check?
Yeah, I wouldn't call that a good date.
That's kind of my point. You can infer that to Mason Smith. You can just assume I was asking a question. It's totally up to you. Mason Smith's had injury problems. He's had inconsistency problems. Is there a chance that he comes into the NFL and he's just way better? Yeah, guess. Do I think that's going to happen with the Jacksonville Jaguars? Not really. No, I really don't.
Okay.
Jerry and Jones was 3 rounds too high. 2 rounds at the very least.
Mm-hmm.
Javon Foster's
96th
fine.
pick.
Say that one more time. I didn't hear you.
I was just saying that was the 96th pick in the 3rd round.
Yep, and they forgot 100. They did Macaulay Culkin in his 20s. They forgot 100. Left it on a sidewalk somewhere.
Yeah.
Javon Foster's fine. Everybody else is just. I feel like Jacksonville went, we're going to take nothing but SEC players this year, and they got stranded at LSU for about a week, and they felt great about everything they saw there, and nothing else.
Uh-huh.
I mean, do you realize how many of the players they drafted play in the SEC? They took 9 guys.
All of them except for Kalen Robinson, whose school will play there next year.
I was counting him. Jerry and Jones and Miles Cole are the only 2 players they had that don't play in the SEC. It's just it's clunky to me. That whole class is clunky to me. What was your grade on Jacksonville?
I gave them a C+.
Okay, I'm gonna need you to justify that because I don't really understand how you got there.
Well, to me, you killed the first 2 picks. I like Mason Smith. I think he can slot in on your defensive line and be a really good piece for you. Maybe not right away, but at least in the next couple of years. Brian Thomas, I think he's a star.
I like Brian Thomas. I'm in like with him. I am not in love with him. I never was. I had him and Keon Coleman really close. The fact that you didn't have to take him in the teens and you traded down, that's the reason this is not an old GB. Everything else, I know you like Mason Smith. I get it. All right, let me ask you this. The difference between Tavondre Sweat and Mason Smith is how drastic for you?
Oh, I would say it's moderately sizable. I like Sweat better.
They went 10 picks apart.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, there's way more than a 10-pick difference between those 2 for me.
I would agree.
On my big board, there was a 2-round difference between those 2. Now, I was higher on Tavondre Sweat than everybody else was. But I don't feel like he got value there. I don't feel like they got value on any of their picks in this class. This was a stereotypical Trent Baalke class, and that makes me nervous. This is what he does. He overdrafts guys. He did it in San Francisco. He's done it in Jacksonville.
All right, so your grade
was
what?
Gave him a duh. Big old duh.
All right, so they get a D from Flosterdamus, C+ from me. We will get to the other teams in the AFC South coming up after the top of the hour here on ESPN Asheville. 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. Here, before we get into the top of the hour, though, I do want to take a moment to encourage everybody. Today's the last day. Today's the last day that you can nominate someone for the Roofing for a Reason contest on ESPNAVL.com. Balkan Roofing's Roofing for a Reason. They want to hook up a needy homeowner in our area with an absolutely free roof. Brand new roof, no expense to them. All you have to do is go to ESPNAVL.com, click on the Balkan Roofing for a Reason contest, follow the link in that link, and fill out the form. Give us the reason why you are nominating someone for a free roof. Maybe it's it's been a few years of just really rough. We had a lot of people in our area have had a hard time bouncing back from 2020 and all that came with it. And maybe you got a neighbor, maybe you got a grandmother, cousin, anybody that has been on hard times and needs a brand new roof, go to ESPNAVL.com. Today is the last day for submissions for Balkan Roofing for a reason. We will return right after this on ESPN Asheville, coming to you live from the Ingalls studio, also from Mullet Manor in Woodfin.
The good folks at
Clear.
Oh, yeah.
Introducing the new
Are we coming back, or are we rolling all these into one?
It's like a time machine that takes you all the way back to now, the year 2024.
I'm going to roll all this together.
Okay.
You remember, dare I say, it's new.
That means I can go get
the
more
flavor you
chicken
grew up
nuggets.
with, just all grown up.
Yes, sir, you can.
And I can also grab a beer out of my fridge and have it waiting for 301. Let's go.
Yeah, this will take us right up to the top.
10-4.
Participating Wendy's.
Spring has sprung and it's full tilt boogie time at GiveMeTheVin.com, America's best car buyer.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Hey, if you're listening to me right now, I have one thing every business needs most: attention. Think about it. We swipe and scroll past stuff all day. But when we're driving, cooking, and working out, we're also listening. That's the magic of audio at iHeart. We're in your next customer's ears while they're living life and listening, just like you are right now. So get your customers to listen up today using radio, digital, and podcasts. Visit iHeartAdvertising.com. That's iHeartAdvertising.com.
Above and beyond. That's what defines our commitment to our customers at Parks Ford Hendersonville. As your hometown dealer, Parks Ford works hard for you to provide a one-of-a-kind buying experience through incredible service, honest communication, and trusted accountability. Stop by to experience the Parks Promise yourself, a promise to do better, to be better every day. We can't wait to meet you and help you find the right vehicle for you. Stop in and shop ParksFordHendersonville.com. That's ParksFordHendersonville.com.
First News on 570.
9 years we've all been together here. You certainly couldn't do it without all of you who listen each and every single morning. Also, without the many fantastic advertisers that we have. Because let's face it, if Tank and I have to go do something else, we're pretty much going to starve to death. Tank, you had to get a real job for a little while.
I did. Working for a living sucks. Doing this is great.
I'm sure I couldn't put it any better, Tank. I got to be honest.
Weekday mornings at 6 on News Radio 570 WWNC.
iHeartRadio Earth is here with a new way to enjoy our beautiful planet. When exploring outdoor areas like local parks or a historic urban neighborhood this spring, be sure to recreate responsibly to protect yourself and the environment. Check the open status of a place before you visit, be respectful of others, and dispose of waste properly. Brought to you by iHeartRadio Earth and the National Environmental Education Foundation. To find more tips for smarter, sustainable living, or to take action in your own community, go to iHeartRadio.com/Earth.
At Ingalls, we're proud to work with hundreds of local farms and businesses in the communities we call home. Not only does it ensure that you get top-quality, fresh items for your family table, it's a way for us to support the amazing individuals who pour their heart and soul into delivering the very best they can do. Quality, freshness, community, it's all in the bag. Ingalls, low prices, love the savings.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the mountains, you need to call the agents at Clarissa Sells WNC, brokered by eXp Realty. Check us out online at ClarissaSellsWNC.com. Download our free app on Google Play or the App Store. Type in Asheville Home Search. You'll be able to connect with our team and see all the available homes for sale in our area. For more information, contact us today at 828-774-6343 or ClarissaSellsWNC@gmail.com.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Bit of damp weather around this afternoon. Hopefully you packed along the rain gear. If not, well, you're going to get wet. A few scattered showers around, maybe a thunderstorm. Obviously a better opportunity if you are moving around. Low 70s. I don't think everybody gets rain, at least for every hour of the afternoon. Scattered showers, a few thunderstorms tonight, tapering off after midnight, 53. But we will have some fog to deal with on Wednesday morning, then some sunshine close to 80. Thursday looks beautiful, plenty of sun, low 80s. From the Weather Channel, meteorologist Ray Stagik.
This report is sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate, not one based on anyone else. So if you drive safely, you could save money. Good to know. Visit allstate.com or call for a quote today.
At Ingles, whether we're celebrating Friday night rivals, televising college basketball games, bringing the Fan Fest to semi-pro soccer, or taking you out to the ball game at your minor league park, it's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Every so often in medicine, something comes along that is truly revolutionary.
Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, former orthopedic surgeon, now National Medical Director at QC Kinetics.
I believe this is one of those things.
Dr. Scheinkup is talking about regenerative medicine, something he's practiced, researched, and written about for nearly 2 decades.
The old ways of dealing with joint pain, such as steroids and surgery, are no longer the best ways.
If you have pain from arthritis or injury, you owe it to yourself to learn more about this exciting option, using your own body's natural power to get lasting relief. And there's no better place to learn than QC Kinetics.
There is no one in this country today with more clinics, more satisfied patients, more advanced protocols, or more experience in using this exciting option to deliver life-changing results.
Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetic. All right, coming up on it. 39517. That's 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Fun. That's fun. Enter it now.
Log on now to ESPNAVL.com. The Sportsocracy.
It fires me up, man. I love it. Say it one more time.
The Sportsocracy.
Shake it back!
Beer City's best sports talk.
It is gross.
Just earlier.
They are mature, actually. You just have to get to know them better.
Your lunchtime dose of dumbassery. Live from the Ingles studio.
It is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, 1400, coming to you live from the Ingles studio. I'm Tank Spitzer. He's live at Mullet Manor. He's Jeremy Greene.
Subhead just walked to watch the World Bud basketball.
At ESPN Draft Nerd Jeremy Greene. We're wrapping up our initial thoughts, analysis of the 2024 NFL Draft. NFC draft grades were done on yesterday's program, so if you missed those, you can go back and check those out on the podcast. Today, AFC draft grades. We got 2 more teams from the AFC South and all of the AFC West to get in here before we say goodbye for the week, our last hour of the week before we take some time to recover from the Detroit trip. Again, it was phenomenal. We cannot thank Ingles Supermarkets enough for helping us make the dreams come true this year with all the off-season travels from Mobile to Indianapolis to Detroit for the big one. And now, Jeremy, in the AFC South. We got 2 teams left. Mm-hmm. We always start at the bottom and work our way to the top. Who's next in your pecking order here of draft grades?
Next for me would be the Houston Texans.
Houston Texans.
I didn't really.
All right.
I didn't really like what Jacksonville. I didn't like what Jacksonville did at all. I wasn't. Tennessee got a lot of good players. I just didn't like your opener. I don't have a ton bad to say about Houston, but I don't have a lot great to say about it either.
Okay. Start at the top. 2 picks in the second round. Kamari Lassiter out of Georgia.
Elemento slow.
Okay. Blake Fisher, tackle out of Notre Dame.
I re-referenced the Honda Civic, Tank. He'll get you where you're going.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to be a fun drive. It's just he's a dude. I had a later
special.
3rd, early 4th round grade on him.
Okay.
That's one of those that, and I come up against players like this all the time. I would love to have a Q&A with NFL GMs that make picks. I would kill to have Nick Caserio explain to me how he had a higher grade on Blake Fisher than Kingsley Suamataia. I'd just love to hear it. It's not going to make any sense, and I'm going to think you're smoking crimes, but I'd love to hear it.
I was gonna say, is there nothing that he does better than Suamataia? in your view? Is he not a better pass blocker in some senses? Is he not a better? I mean,
he has a safer floor.
Okay.
Sua Matea is the upside is better in every single facet. And I guess I just look at Houston, and I don't understand why you wouldn't be taking the upside plays. Because I'm looking at Blake Fisher. I don't think he's going to be the starting right tackle. I think Titus Howard will be. So why would I not take the guy that a year or 2 years down the line projects to be better?
Okay. Kalen Bullock was their third selection.
Yeah, he's good. I think he's I don't necessarily know exactly where he plays. I mean, 3 safeties is getting more vogue, but I don't really understand how you're going to get Jimmy Ward, Jalen Petrie, and Bullock on the field together. But I'm not D'Amico Ryans. So if this had been an offensive team with just some schmuck as their defensive coordinator, I'd have gone, that doesn't make a lot of sense. But D'Amico made that defense really good last year. That didn't make any sense. So I'm just going to look at him and go, can't wait to see how you put those pieces together there, buddy.
In the 4th round, they took Cade Stover, the tight end out of Ohio State. So that's a piece behind Dalton Schultz.
Yeah, he can come in and be the 3 right away. I feel like he's the 3. It's kind of like when the Jets took Jeremy Ruckert. I looked at the 2 in front of him and went, how exactly is he going to play? Oh, he's not. And he hasn't. Kind of in the same boat.
And then they had 5 picks between the 6th and the 7th rounds. Jamal Hill and Jawar Jordan in the 6th round. Solomon Byrd, Marcus Harris, Ladarius Henderson in the 7th.
Hill is.
Get any diamonds in the rough there?
The commonality of most of those guys is that they're either really small or they're really raw. Hill, the linebacker, Jordan, the running back, they're both smaller guys. Hill's pretty good in coverage. I think he has a special teams role to start. Jawar Jordan is a dude that I got into a lot of fights about because he's small and not particularly fast. He plays faster than he ran. I didn't really see it in him. I thought he was going to be an undrafted free agent. So I'm not wild about it. Solomon Byrd, he's got all the talent. There's just not really there hasn't been the progression there. He was a ballyhooed recruit and then just never took the step. Marcus Harris is a run stopper, and Ladarius Henderson was a guy I did not think was going to get drafted. But he's a depth lineman.
All right, so overall, the Houston Texans, from me, they got a B.
For me, they got a C+.
Let's talk about the Indianapolis.
I mean, they passed, but it's just fine. It's fine. It's
just
fine.
It's fine. Just a fine draft class. Let's go Indianapolis Colts.
Now, this one is, to me, not even debatable. This is the best class in this. This is the best class in this division, and it's not even close.
I agree. I gave him a B+.
Is fantastic.
I had them at a B+. They were the winner of the division for me. Yes, you're right. The Leatu Latu pick, and then, you were the one that didn't bulk, or I guess you did. You did at one point and then decided, no, A.D. Mitchell, he needs to be gone at 52. It was a steal.
Oh, I love the A.D. Mitchell pick. I love how vehemently Chris Ballard defended it. I think those top 2 are as good. They're top 5 in the league in terms of teams with their first 2 selections. From there, it gets a little beauty's in the eye of the beholder. I didn't love Goncalves as much as some others did because I think he is a swing tackle, but the more I thought about that, that's exactly what they're asking him to do. They wanted a guy that could play on either side. That makes sense. I go back to what I said about Houston and Blake Fisher. I don't see your explanation there. Goncalves, yeah, he legitimately grades as equally good on the left and the right. So you're wanting a guy that's your sixth lineman that can come in if anybody gets hurt. Okay, that's fine.
And then Tanner Bortolini after that.
That was a name that got said on our draft coverage way too many times.
Yeah, because it got reported by Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times that my team was considering picking him in the first round, which Jeremy immediately started praying for, and thankfully God did not listen.
Oh, I would have needed new pants. No doubt. I would have needed new pants because I would have laughed until I defecated in them. And he's a fine player. It's just there are times that I feel like and look, Rick Stroud's a really good beat writer.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like sometimes, and I've never had anybody tell me this, but I swear to God it's true. I think there are times that NFL GMs and scouts and personnel guys, maybe somebody writes something about them that they don't like. Maybe they're just a jerk. I don't know. They just tell guys things, and then they run back to the office and go, you will never guess what I just convinced Rick Stroud of, and he's going to run it tomorrow. And then they get the paper, and they laugh and laugh and laugh. And that's all I can figure because Tampa Bay had 4 shots to take Tanner Bortolini. They were considering him in the first round. Never at any point did you take him.
No. Well, we already got the center. We already got Graham Barton. So
and that's fine. He can play guard, and you still needed a center. If you had a first-round grade on him, he would be a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. I promise you that.
Uh-huh. Tanner Bortolini went at 119 overall.
He was a nice riser in the class. I think he's the long-term replacement to Ryan Kelly.
Yeah. 117 overall he was taken. And that is much better than taking him at 26.
Correct.
Then what'd you think of the rest of the class? From the 5th round on, Anthony Gold, wide receiver out of Oregon State, going to the Indianapolis Colts.
He's a nice, legit slot receiver. I look at Indianapolis now. I feel like you've got your top 5. I just don't know what order they're going to be in. And if I were a betting man, I would say that Michael Pittman's the 1.
Mm-hmm.
A.D. Mitchell's the 2. Downs will play as the first slot. Pierce comes as the 4. And Anthony Gold is your 5. Would just be my
Sounds
bet.
right to me.
He's also a really good kick returner. Just you remember that thing I said on, I think it was night 2, of this draft is so bad, and we just changed the kick on the backside, and we just changed up the kickoff rankings. Watch every guy that was a good kick returner get bumped up about a round, and then that all played out exactly how I said it would.
The only other pick that they made that stood out to me that I went, oh, that guy was good, was Jalen Simpson that they took at 164 overall, safety out of Auburn.
I like that one a lot. I think he's got a nice future as a single high, maybe even a 2 high safety. He's just really thin. Makes me worry that he's not going to be a great tackler at the next level, which apparently doesn't matter to the Indianapolis Colts because they took 2 safeties back-to-back. Jalen Carley's out of Missouri, who couldn't tackle me. Pretty good pass rusher, but he is a horrifically bad tackler. Simpson, who is undersized. And then Micah Abram, the cornerback out of Marshall. He's a little dude, too. He played a whole lot. And I think he comes in as a nice depth piece, but that's all. He will be a 6th corner in the NFL, and that's all he'll ever be.
Mm-hmm. All right, so the Indianapolis Colts, I went with a B+ on their draft class.
Indianapolis Colts, I went an A-.
Are you there? Sorry, you cut out on us.
Yes, Indianapolis Colts, I went with an A-.
A- for the Indianapolis Colts draft class. Do you feel like they filled all of their needs? Because in the YouTube comments, I'm trying to find that comment. I think it was Pinkney that said that that was his problem with Houston, was he didn't think Houston nailed the problems.
I feel like Indianapolis got an infusion of talent, and you got guys that are going to be – look, I think the top two guys are solutions for a long time. One of them, I believe, will be a star in Latu. I think A.D. Mitchell's going to be a solid 2. From there, if you can fill spot with guys that can make the roster, you did pretty well. And I do feel like every one of these guys, outside of maybe one, will make the roster.
Yeah, looking at Indianapolis, it's just hard for me to really pinpoint where the hole is on the offensive side of the ball anyway. I realize that they do have some upgrades that could be made on the defensive side, but there ain't many.
I mean, look, I think
feel
they're
like
going to
it's a
have
very
I
talented
think that
offense.
front's going to be terrifying. I mean, I don't love their secondary. I would wager that's what you were hearing, is that they didn't draft the corner that can play on the outside, because you're going to have Kenny Moore out there, and they're going to have to play Jalen Jones on the outside with Juju Brents, and the secondary just leaves a lot to be desired. I don't disagree with any of that, but they have Samson Abukum, Kwity Paye, DeForest Buckner, and Leatu Latu getting after quarterbacks, and that is really good.
They're going to like how that looks on them. I guarantee it. Coming up after the break here in the Sportsocracy, ESPN Asheville, we will dive into the AFC West. Kansas City Chiefs did it again. What do we think about the other teams in the division and how they did in the draft? I mean, we already have a feeling. You already know what the Denver Broncos grade's going to be. I feel like we got another GB coming up after the break.
Buttered
We'll get to
sausage, what's it doing on my plate? Get it out of my face.
We'll get to it, and Jeremy will make more enemies in Colorado right after this.
Every so often in medicine, long that is truly revolutionary.
Dr. Mitchell Shinecup, former orthopedic surgeon, now National Medical Director at QC Kinetics.
I believe this is one of those things.
Dr. Shinecup is talking about regenerative medicine, something he's practiced, researched, and written about for nearly 2 decades.
The old ways of dealing with joint pain, such as steroids and surgery, are no longer the best ways.
If you have pain from arthritis or injury, you owe it to yourself to learn more about this exciting option, using your own body's natural power to get lasting relief. And there's no better place to learn than QC Kinetics.
There is no one in this country today with more clinics, more satisfied patients, more advanced protocols, or more experience in using this exciting option to deliver life-changing results.
Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 828-333-9517. That's 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517.
The roof is the most important part of the home, and this month ESPN Asheville and Balkan Roofing are giving one away free of charge. Through April, go to espnavl.com and click on the Balkan Roofing's Roofing for a Reason. Follow the link to nominate a homeowner in need of a new roof and why they should be our winner. At the end of the month, one iHeart Asheville winner will be selected. Make your nominations again at espnavl.com. Roofing for a Reason with Balkan Roofing.
Imagine a world where every individual has the chance to reach their full potential. For over 60 years, ARC of Buncombe County has made that vision a reality for children and adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. But right now, ARC urgently needs heroes, compassionate people like you who can step forward and make a difference. Every donation is a lifeline. Visit arcofbuncombecounty.org to donate now. That's arcofbuncombecounty.org. Be an ARC hero.
I'm Hannah Storm, and my new podcast, NBA DNA with Hannah Storm, digs deep into the history of professional basketball, alongside my own as one of sports television's first female broadcasters.
Now let's get you up to speed on what else happened around the NBA today.
I'll talk to the legends of the game and those behind the scenes with some fantastic stories both on and off the court. Listen to NBA DNA with Hannah Storm on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
At Ingalls, we're proud to work with hundreds of local farms and businesses in the communities we call home. Not only does it ensure that you get top quality, fresh items for your family table, it's a way for us to support the amazing individuals who pour their heart and soul into delivering the very best they can do. Quality, freshness, community, it's all in the bag. Ingalls, low prices, love the savings.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the mountains, you need to call the agents at Clarissa Sells WNC, brokered by eXp Realty. Check us out online at clarissasellswnc.com. Download our free app on Google Play or the App Store. Type in Asheville Home Search. You'll be able to connect with our team and see all the available homes for sale in our area. For more information, contact us today at 828-774-6343 or
yes, sir.
WNC@gmail.com.
The Sportsocracy.
We treat star athletes better because they're better people.
That's not fair.
Life isn't fair, kiddo. Get used to it.
We're back in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville. Coming to you live from the Ingles studio via the Ingles studio link up. Coming to you from Mullet Manor. Flostradamus, Jeremy Greene.
The Mullet Cave.
It's time for another GB. Another Gary Busey draft grade. This is the drunkest of the drunkards. Atlanta got one yesterday. Who have your other GBs been?
Let's see. I had a Gary Busey on Atlanta. I had one on Minnesota. I had one on New England. And now I have one on the Denver Broncos.
Oh,
you see a commonality between those four teams?
Bad quarterback.
They all took quarterbacks that weren't named Jaden Daniels or Caleb Williams.
Yep.
And I love Drake May too, but man, I don't feel like you did him any favors.
At number 12, they took Bo Nix, the quarterback out of Oregon.
And that's where it went to die.
Uh-huh.
I'll be honest with you. I think you could have taken Bruce Banner, Bruce Wayne, and Clark Kent from there, and I would have still been at a C-.
You absolutely hate Bo Nix.
I just don't get it. I don't get what it is that anybody sees there that is special. And here's where this really bothers me. I had said this over the course of the pre-draft process that the second-round quarterback is done and never to be seen or heard from again because quarterback is so valuable now that any guy like that's going to go in the first round, whether he should or not, to get the fifth-year option and to make sure you have a guy. Apparently, I should have said second-day quarterback because after Bo Nix, we didn't have a quarterback go for 138 selections.
Yep. There wasn't really another one worth picking.
I don't disagree with that in any way. I do disagree that three of the ones that went in the first round were worth picking in the first round.
Yeah, but you know how that is. And every team that gets suckered into
it's how
doing
you just
that.
said that irritates me. You know how that is. No, here's what I know. I know you took the 89th best player in this draft at 12.
Yep.
And that's never worked out in the history of this league. Has that ever worked out? And I don't see how this one's going to work out either.
I hear no lies. Sean Payton thinks he can make it work, though. He wants the the accurate quarterback. He wants the quarterback who stays on time in the offense, and he feels like Bo Nix is that guy.
Okay, I'm going to ask. I'm going to give you a hypothetical, and you tell me where I'm wrong.
Okay.
How many teams in the AFC would you say are worse than the Denver Broncos right now? Top to bottom.
Oh, I don't know that there is one.
I would agree with you. I mean, I'm just looking at the roster.
Tennessee might be close.
Because I'm looking at the defense going, well, you're going to struggle to get after quarterbacks. You have the worst corner in the NFL playing on the outside of Pat Surtain. Safeties are not great. Offensive line is fine. It's fine. You've got Marvin Mims and Cortland Sutton allegedly wants out. I don't know what it is exactly what exactly is it you'd say you do here? So what that means is they're going to be picking in the top 5 next year. I feel very sure of it.
I would say so.
Are you really trying to tell me that Bo Nix will be better than any quarterback you could have gotten next year? Really? That's what you're going to try to convince me of. Because A, I don't buy it. B, I can tell you definitively that I don't like Carson Beck all that much, and he's going to be light years ahead of Bo Nix as a prospect, as will Shedeur Sanders, as will Quinn Ewers, and that's assuming that nobody jumps out next year. Like Jackson Dart, who I once did say would eventually be the number 1 pick in a draft.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't make any sense to me. You did exactly what Carolina did. You got desperate for a quarterback before you really were ready for a quarterback, and now it's going to come back to bite you on the keister.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the only saving grace there is that unlike Carolina, you didn't give up future draft capital to go get that quarterback, but you didn't get anybody that is close to a ceiling like Bryce Young has with the Carolina Panthers. I mean, you got a guy who what you see is what you get. And the bad part is the best quarterback that Bo Nix could ever be, he's already been that at Oregon. That's not saying that he's going to continue that high level, but you honestly think he's going to come in and throw 45 touchdowns in the NFL? I got a bridge to sell you.
Well, here's the problem with Bo Nix. Until he was 23 years old playing with teenagers, he looked like a late-round flyer, undrafted free agent quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
He was drastically better. I mean, 6 percentage points better in terms of completion percentage. He was a 77% completion guy this year. You're not doing that in the NFL.
Yeah, I don't think
45 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Good luck with that.
Yeah, you can't expect that kind of
that's not who he is. You go back and watch him in the SEC, and that's exactly the quarterback that you're getting. But Auburn wasn't good. Neither was Bo Nix. Yeah, you're right. Auburn wasn't good, and he was a big part of it.
That he was.
I told you in the pre-draft,
Bo Nix
any
on the
team
road.
that looks at Bo Nix as a first-round draft pick, I'll go ahead and tell you, everybody in that building is going to be working somewhere else within the next 3 years.
Mm-hmm. The one thing that I did kind of like about the draft is that in the 4th round, they were able to pair Troy Franklin with him.
I am hoping over the course of my little darkness retreat here, mine and Tank's into the darkness retreat. Not together, completely separate. Tank's not going into the darkness with me because that'd be weird.
No.
I'm hoping I can figure out what it is that pushed Troy Franklin down because I don't know. But if I hear one more person go, well, he was teammates with Bo Nix, and that means that it's going to work. Okay. I mean, I get your sentiment, and that's fine. I would love to know why every team in the NFL passed on this guy 3 times.
Mm-hmm. As would I.
He's
don't even
thin. I know that much.
Understand it.
I mean, if there's a medical red flag, I don't know about it offhand.
But in today's day and age, do you really care about that?
What, that he's thin?
Do you not feel like you can get him in and bulk him up to a certain degree where he's still effective?
Well, the problem with
really
bulking up Troy Franklin is how did he beat people? Troy Franklin beat people with speed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if I bulk you up, it's kind of like, all right, just think of this like a car. If you've got a car that'll do 0 to 60 in 5.2, if I fill it with 28 bags of concrete, do you think it's going to go 5.2? No. More likely to go 5.7.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at Troy Franklin with the speed he has right now. I don't think you can add 20 pounds to the frame, even if it's 20 good pounds.
Okay.
And so, I mean, that's the only thing I can figure is that teams looked at him and went, you're not going to be able to win that way. The way you won in the Pac-12 against aggressive NFL corners. That part I get. The thing that bothers me is that he's probably going to end up being the one. Because I don't think the more time goes on, the more pretty certain I am that Cortland Sutton's going to be somewhere else next year. Marvin Mims is not a one. And so Troy Franklin becomes the guy de facto. And so I'm looking at a mediocre quarterback behind a mediocre line with a mediocre running game with mediocre targets. What kind of results do you think that's going to get? Mediocre.
Bad. It ain't going to be mediocre. It's going to be bad.
You're probably not wrong.
Just mediocre in the NFL is bad news Bears.
Yes.
I mean, unless your goal is to pick at the top of the draft, and then I will reiterate what Jeremy said. If that's the case, and that's your ceiling, why the hell did you take Bo Nix at 12? Because you're going to have a shot at a quarterback next year.
Well, I just look at the guys that went behind him. I mean, look at the handful of picks behind Denver. Brock Bowers, who went in your division, by the way. Talese Fawaga, who I think is going to be a 10-year right tackle in the league. Leatu Latu, who I think is going to be an 8 to 10-year edge rusher in the league. Byron Murphy, who I think is going to be an 8 to 10-year defensive tackle in the league. I could keep doing this, but I think you get my point.
Absolutely.
And you took Bo Nix, who to me could be out of the league entirely in 3 years.
Other picks for the Denver Broncos. The third-round pick at 76 overall, Jonah Ellis, edge rusher out of Utah. Did you have a problem with that one?
I didn't necessarily have a problem with it. I think it's fine. It's where he belonged. I mean, he's a scheme fit. It doesn't do much to make me feel warm and fuzzy. Now Denver has 4 dudes that I graded pretty similarly, and you don't really have anybody that I'm worried about.
Mm-hmm.
If you have 4 threes, all that means is that you don't have a 1.
The 2 fifth-round picks, 145 and 147, were Chris Abrams-Drain, corner out of Missouri, and Audric Estime, the running back from Notre Dame.
And I think both those were nice values. Abrams-Drain had even gotten first-round love. I never saw that. I thought he was going to go in round 2. He falls all the way down here. I mean, he's a good slot corner. The only problem is exactly what I said in the pre-draft. Who exactly are you planning on playing on the outside? Because you already had Jaquan McMillan, who's a pretty good slot guy. So, I mean, that means somebody has to play on the outside. McMillan is small. Chris Abrams-Drain is small. The math don't math. I like the player. I don't like the fit. Audric Estime, he's fine. He's bowling ball. I called him Natron Means in the pre-draft, and I stick with that. He can be Thunder 2 to Javonte Williams Thunder 1. Not real sure where the Lightning's supposed to come in there, especially with Samaje Perine, but apparently Sean Payton has a type.
Oh, can we please have Denver Bronco Thunder Buddies T-shirts?
Oh, I think that's a great idea. Thunder Buddies, but the only problem is I'm going to put Sean Payton and Bo Nix's face on it.
Thunder Buddies for life. Let's go. And the 7th round, Devon Villay, Nick Guargilo. Anything worth having out of that?
Not really.
Nah, not really. Not really.
Denver
Broncos.
Villay could develop into a guy. He has a real good knack at getting open, and he's a decent route runner. I don't think there's a ton there. And then Gargilo, he was a Yale guy, transferred to South Carolina. I think he has played every spot on the line, including center. So he's hyper versatile. That's really the nicest thing I can say, because he wasn't particularly good at any of it. Didn't allow a lot of sacks, though.
Denver Broncos get a full Gary Busey from Flostradamus. I didn't go quite that far. I did give him a D+, because I like the Troy Franklin pick.
You got to recharge your brain batteries.
You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is CSPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. We got 2 left to go, or actually 3 left to go. We got the Chargers, Chiefs, Raiders, draft grades next.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast.
Clear.
ESPN Asheville.
Bit of damp weather around this afternoon. Hopefully you packed along the rain gear. If
Did
not,
I hit my beer button too early that time?
Scattered showers around me.
You did not.
Obviously, a better opportunity if you are moving.
System got hung up.
I don't think everybody gets rain, at least for every hour.
I did that thing where I was trying to fire the brake and it wasn't going anywhere.
Have you seen the television numbers for the draft?
Wednesday morning, then some sun.
No, I have not.
Unduplicated audience.
80s. From the
do
Weather
you know what that
Channel
term means?
This report is sponsored by Bojangles.
Is that the In-N-Out audience?
No,
Orange
that's the
Dreamsicle
number
Frosty
of
at
people
Wendy's.
that showed
It's
up
like walking down
at any
recent
point.
memory lane.
So
to have
you only
Orange
can count
Dreamsicle Frosty
one
in
time.
our timeline.
One-time views.
Yes. Well, I mean,
You
they
sure?
might have
Or
watched
one-time
10
count.
times, but each person's only counted once.
Limited time.
Right.
Report.
What you think that number is there, Puddin'?
CMO Hyundai Motor America discusses measuring audio.
The measurement capability.
For the first round?
This is for all 3 days.
We have seen a huge
For all 3 days. Oh, God.
numbers has helped us continue to invest.
As the #1 audio company,
12 million.
marketers access to the data, audiences, and
You're going to need to multiply that bad boy a time or two.
Go to iHeartResults.com.
Like 36-ish or higher?
53.6 million.
12th.
Holy smokes.
Off your order. Call Stargazers
53.6
Designs
million.
at 828
And
254
775,000 people
if you're
attended the
listening to
draft.
me right now, I have one thing every business needs most.
Say that last one again.
775,000 fans attended
when
the
we're
draft.
driving, cooking,
That doesn't
working
include
out,
us.
Magic of audio at iHeart. We're in your next customer's ears while they're living life and listening, just like you are right now.
And
So
they
get your
average
customers
6
to listen
million
up
that
today
doesn't
using
that's not
radio,
in that
digital,
number
and
on digital.
podcasts. Call
Averaged
844
it over 3 days.
5. That's 844-ADD-HELP-5.
Did you know Ingalls only sells USDA Choice and Prime cut?
That's why we don't talk
Maybe it's time
about
to
other
reward yourself.
sports, because
Our
they
butchers
can't
cut all our
do
meat fresh
that.
in the store every day. Grass-fed.
So the first round,
Cut it to order just the way you like it.
11.4 million people. Is that the average audience?
Best meat in town for the best
Do I
folks
know?
in town.
I'm looking at
Love the savings.
If cleanliness is next to godliness,
round one average.
round one
12.1
coverage, average 12.1 million viewers.
Unduplicated audience.
they
in
have the
round
tools
one
to
was
make your interior look like it's coming off the
34.3
showroom floor.
Damn.
On Instagram, all that filth and years of stains disappear. WNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WNC Auto
we starting with
Detailing
here?
455-3700. Shoo. With a Southern hot.
Who's your lowest between the Chargers, Chiefs, and Raiders?
With Beast Unleashed, presented by Monster Brewing.
That's a
Number
good question
one,
you got there,
beat the
Tank.
heat.
Let me take a gander.
Zero caffeine and zero sugar.
Number 2, running the option.
There's 4 to choose from.
The Chiefs.
Mine is. Okay.
My personal.
I will accept that.
3 at 6% ABV, Max Protect.
Soaring Eagle has
Mine's
a
actually
super
a
chat
tie.
we come back to.
21 or over.
Say that again.
Soaring Eagle
Available
has
at
a
your
super
local
chat when we
retailer.
come back to.
The Sportsocracy.
Right, this is good old JR Tim Ross, WWE Hall of Famer. Boy, these boys are smart. You talk about Goofy and the Pet Coon. Let me tell you something. This show is a legitimate slobber knocker.
And we are back here on ESPN Asheville 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. Sportsocracy wrapping up our draft grades for the 2024 NFL Draft. We were proud to be there live in Detroit for the first 2 days of the draft. And once again, that trip, thanks to Engels Markets, low prices, love the savings. We were not the only ones there, though, Jeremy. You were just
no,
telling
sir.
me in the break we had a boatload of people that showed up in Detroit.
775,000 people.
Wow. Set a first night record of estimated 257,000 people in Marcius Park.
All of those are
Viewership
draft
on
records.
television. Yes, viewership on television, quite nice. An average of 12.1 million viewers for the first round. That's the average viewership at any given time. As far as the unduplicated audience for the first round, 34.3 million. And over the weekend, it was what?
53.6 million unduplicated audience.
Which means at some point in the weekend, 54 plus million households tuned in at some point. Absolutely insane. This is why
that's
NFL
why
is
we
king.
don't talk about other sports, because we as a society, more of us watch players getting selected into the NFL than watch the finals of every other sport put together.
Bingo.
Ta-da!
Next up in the 2024 NFL draft grades, doing all the AFC teams. If you missed yesterday's show, that was all the NFC teams. You can go back, check that out on the podcast. The AFC, we're down to the AFC West. 3 teams to go. Next up in the pecking order, the Kansas City Chiefs had the 3rd best draft in the AFC West.
Yes.
According to you?
Before we do the Chiefs, though, we got a super chat in the.
Oh, that's
YouTube
right. I
comments.
forgot. My bad. Super chat time. Go
I
ahead and
do
read it
love
off.
that since the YouTube audience can hear us talking to each other, they can actually verify that I did tell you that in the break.
He did.
That's not just lip service. Our buddy Soaring Eagle said, "Yeah, Bo ain't gonna be better than yours or any of the other guys, but you know who we're gonna be able to get? Luther Burden III or Emeka Ibuka to be his headliner." You're not wrong there. I don't disagree with that. I don't see either one of them being. I don't think either one of them will be top 10 picks.
Mm-hmm.
But I understand the point. You might be able to hijack somebody going to get a quarterback next year because you got very few that need quarterbacks. So, I mean, look, there are ways it could work out. It's just your percentages are so low. So low. Taking Bo Nix like this.
Yep. The Kansas City Chiefs draft haul, not a bad one. The first pick, you may not be a big fan, but I mean, I guess after the last few years, we look at Kansas City and go, there is one thing that they really do like, and that's a lot of speed on the outside. Xavier Worthy, the wide receiver out of Texas, the new record holder for the 40-yard dash at the NFL Scouting Combine, pick number 28.
He beats fast real well. He doesn't be catching footballs real well because his hands be pretty bad. So,
but if there's anybody to catch from, Patty Mahomes is going to figure out how to get it to you, right?
Well, I mean, I think Quinn Ewers did a pretty solid job of getting it to him too. And if you look at the grades and you look at the tape, Xavier Worthy did not belong at 28. Now, do I think having that weapon in that offense is going to open up things? I do. I wish people would stop comparing him to Tyreek Hill because they're both fast and they're both receivers. And outside of that, there are zero similarities between the two. But until the NFL figures out that he can't catch, I mean, you're always going to have somebody on him because you never know. He might accidentally catch it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like the pick. I would have liked it much more if it was Keon Coleman. I would have liked it much more if it was a slew of other receivers. But if it was going to work anywhere, it would be Kansas City.
I got to give points to Hugh in the YouTube comments because I was getting ready to say the exact same thing. He can't really be as bad as Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
Would
as
you
far
take
as
Marquez Valdez-Scantling
catching
in the first
ability? No.
He can't, and you're
Not
right.
a
He
chance.
can't be any worse. He can be every bit as bad, though.
Fair enough. You got the blinding speed, though, and that counts for whatever it counts for in the Andy Reid system.
I do love fast, and Xavier Worthy is very fast.
It was the next pick that really bumped up the draft grade for me. It was Kingsley Suamatea, the tackle out of BYU at 63.
That was my favorite pick. One of my favorite picks of the entire draft, and that is why Kansas City is as good as they are.
Yes.
Because they watched other teams, I don't know, New England take much lesser offensive linemen, and they just went and got the really, really good one. So, I mean, I think Suamatea is going to be the left tackle. Maybe not this year. He may need a year to develop. I think he gets thrown out there, though, because they have shown they have no aversion to playing young linemen.
4th round, they took Jared Wiley, tight end out of TCU.
The last time they took a tight end that played quarterback in high school, it worked out pretty good. And there are a lot of people that liked Jared Wiley a lot in this draft class, and you just add him to what they already have. That's the best tight end room in the league, outside of another team in this division.
Pick 133, Jaden Hicks, safety from Washington State.
I was stunned he fell this far. As much as he was talked about while I was in Mobile, I genuinely thought this dude was going to be the first or second safety taken, and they get a great value in him. He is as athletic as they come, really seamless mover, very fluid hips. I don't see a path that he's not going to end up being a great value down the line.
Mm-hmm. Then they went Hunter Norzad, offensive lineman out of Penn State, Kamal Hayden, defensive back from Tennessee, and C.J. Hansen, another lineman from Holy Cross. Any special ones there?
I'll do these in reverse. Hansen and Norzad are both really good run blockers. Both leave a lot to be desired in the pass game. That's a little strange to me because Kansas City throws as much as they do. So I don't see a lot there. Hunter Norzad was really popular in the process. I never could figure out why. And then the rubber met the road, and people just kept passing him. He was not good in pass pro. But he was talked about a lot. Didn't happen a lot on this show, and it wound up that we were right. Haddon, the corner, he's a drop zone corner. I don't see how he can play up into anybody. He was really good in zone coverage. He was just terrible at practically everything else. So there's a possibility they're planning on moving him to safety or just playing him in drop zone coverage.
Mm-hmm. All in all, I mean, you didn't have a whole lot of holes to fill on this team. What was your draft grade?
That would be a B-, Bob.
All right. We actually matched up on that one. B- for me as well. And then, in the AFC West, next is...
I think you already know the answer to that.
The Las Vegas Raiders?
Nope. The Los Angeles Chargers.
Okay. Los Angeles Chargers. Joe Alt at 5.
Love that. Just, it's as good as it could possibly be.
Lad McConkey with the second pick in the second round.
Oh, and you duked in it. You started so well, and then just... I don't understand what it is all of you see in Lad McConkey. With that team, where you need somebody that you can... I get that you can count on him.
Mm-hmm.
And you play him out of the slot. Is he scaring anybody ever?
What, with his physicality? With his speed?
Is he going to get over the top on anybody?
No.
Do we know that Quentin Johnston can catch even if he gets over the top on anybody?
No, we do not.
Do we know that Josh Palmer can consistently get over the top on people?
No.
Yeah, we do. We do because he's a dog.
Do we?
He a dog.
He's a dog.
I'm looking at the way this offense sets up going, Justin Herbert's got a big arm, and he should really be able to push it down the field. And you got him a slot receiver. Whee! In arguably the best receiver draft in NFL history, you got him the little white guy that makes the little shifty white guy out of Georgia just win one for the Gipper. Let's go. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That they did. He'll be hell on wheels. Third round.
I'll make a bet with you.
Yeah.
Lad McConkey is never worse than a bottom end 2, and he's never better than a mediocre 2.
I'll take it.
Yeah, at 34, I won't.
Now,
in 34 in this class, I'm good.
You're not taking that. All right. Then Junior Colson, linebacker out of Michigan.
Well, I mean, we all knew that Jim was getting a Michigan dude in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm. He got 2 of them.
He did. Junior Colson is I think he provides something that the Chargers haven't had for a long time, which is a really sound tackling inside linebacker. So I actually don't hate that pick. I think the banging on the Ladd McConkey pick makes it sound like I'm about to kill them, and then I'm going to say the grade, and people are going to go, oink.
But wait.
Oink.
Justin Eboigbe, the defensive lineman out of Alabama at 105.
Really good against the run, leaves a lot to be desired in terms of as a pass rusher. But when you look at what they drafted him to do, that makes sense. This team was terrible against the run and has been for a long time.
And then in the 5th round, took a pair of corners with Tarheeb Still out of Maryland, and then Cam Hart, your boyfriend from Notre Dame.
These 2 picks make it really obvious to me how they're going to play defense, and they're going to send the hellhounds at you. They're going to be physical on the outside because both these corners are physical, still more than Hart, but I think Hart has the size and the potential to get even better at this. That's their goal. We're just going to be physical, get in your face, and we don't think you can get the ball out quick enough to beat us over the top. I have no problem with either one of them. I feel like they should have taken Hart first, but there were only 3 spots in between them. And Still was a little overdrafted, but once you got to the 5th round, you know what I was going to say.
And then they got your little star from Troy, Kamani Vidal, the running back at 181.
I mean, look, we all know that any team that took Joe Alt, Cam Hart, and Kamani Vidal, the grade's going to be pretty damn good. So,
yep.
Look,
but then they took
Vidal's
Brandon
the
Rice,
best pass block.
Like.
He is the best pass protection running back in this class. The Jets got 2 and 3. The Chargers got 1. And I think he can be a really good running back. Don't be shocked. Do not be shocked. And if you're in like deep dynasty leagues and things like that in fantasy football, Kamani Vidal is a guy you need to be taking because I'm telling you right now, he will be the starter for the Los Angeles Chargers before it's all said and done.
And then they took Brandon Rice, which we know you didn't like it.
Yep. If his name was Brendan Smith, he would have been a 17th round undrafted free agent.
And then Cornelius Johnson out of Michigan, wide receiver.
I actually like Johnson better than I like Brendan Rice. I mean, you added 2 pieces. You're going to throw things against the wall, see what sticks. I don't necessarily know that you should put much stock into either one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I do think Johnson could develop into a thing because he's a good blocker on the outside and he can beat you over the top. It just didn't happen enough.
Yep. All right, the Los Angeles Chargers grade?
A-.
A-.
Yeah, I said all of those negative things and then gave him an A-.
I went with a solid A. For them, I thought it was a good draft. To me, I like this class better than any other in this division. Jeremy, though, went A+ for the Las Vegas Raiders.
Sure did.
It's hard to say anything against the first 2 picks. They were complete home run picks. At 13, you got Brock Bowers. I mean, I do kind of scratch my head about the whole, pairing up him with Michael Mayer thing.
Okay,
which
so
I'm
tell
sure
me
you can
what's
explain.
confusing
And
about
then
that pairing.
I don't know. It feels like you already got one of those, right? I already have a dynamic pass catcher tight end. Now I'm going to do another one.
Okay, so what
is
it that Antonio Pierce has said he wants to do pretty much since the second he got this job?
What's that?
Run the damn ball. Now he can play 12 personnel all the time. And in the second round, he got the best run blocker in this class, unquestioned best center in this class. They were 2 A+ picks. But we already have a tight end. And if I'm going to play 12 personnel a lot, I need 2. And if both of them could catch, all the better. And when we spread this out and go 3 wide, guess who your 3rd wide receiver is? Brock Bowers.
Mm-hmm.
It makes all
the
sense in the world.
But is Brock going to also run the football? Because he's the best running back they have.
I don't know about that. We're going to talk about one that I like a lot later. His dad broke my hand at the Senior Bowl.
Nothing I heard wrong about that breakdown of Jackson Powers Johnson. Both those picks were incredible picks. It was just from there, it didn't really wow me from there on, the rest of the class.
The rest of the class left a little bit to be desired in day 2 because Delmar Glaze was just a reach straight up. I mean, I think he'll be a guard in the NFL. They announced him as a tackle, which is when I went ballistic about him. That was when they announced him as a tackle. I assumed that was where they were planning on playing him. It sounds like now he's going to play guard. So that makes me hate that a little bit less. He's a really good pass blocker. And most of the knock on him comes to the outside shoulder. So if he's a guard, I don't get doing it at 77 because I don't think you'd have had any competition at 112 or 148 for him. But I at least get how you did it.
And then DeCamarion Richardson,
Really
cornerback out of Mississippi State.
Guy that he's a willing blitzer. Comes up really an enforcer against the run at times. Same thing I could say about Tommy Eichenberg. He is not as athletically gifted as you would like, but he's really good against the run.
And I guess this is the one you were talking about, Dylan Lawby.
I love him. I think he's the next Austin Eckler. I said that since the Senior Bowl. And you pair him with Zamir White, I believe I have figured out what our running back room is going to look like. There will be another veteran.
Okay.
I don't know who it'll be, but I believe Lobby and Zamir White are going to have really large roles.
Okay. Trey Taylor, MJ Devonshire. Any thoughts about those two guys before we get out of here?
Taylor was the Thorpe Award winner. He's a great college safety. I'm just not 100% sure how it translates to the NFL, playing the way that he does. And then Devonshire, he can break up a pass. He can get burnt like a hot dog you left out on the old egg, but the good's good. Just maybe don't watch the bad because that's going to make you feel really, really less than ideal.
All right, Las Vegas Raiders official grade from Flostradamus.
A+
is what? An A+. All right. I had them at a B+. They weren't the best in the division to me. I had the Chargers class a little bit higher than that, but still a pretty good haul with the first 2 picks of that draft class, and Las Vegas Raiders doing the one thing that I definitely didn't want them to make me do, which is say good things about them getting Brock Bowers.
Hey, you get 2 of the top 15 players in the draft class. I'm probably going to like that.
Absolutely. You cannot knock them for that. All in all, though, I thought there were so many there was such great talent in this draft that a lot of teams had really good classes. If you screwed it up, though, it stood out more than anything else.
No doubt.
You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville. It'll be our final show with you this week. We're going to recover from the Draftmas trip. Back with you on Monday here on ESPN Asheville. I'll be back here in the Ingalls studio. And live from Mullet Manor, Flostradamus Jeremy Greene. We will see you on Monday.
Oh, honey, it's our favorite
Clear.
Stick around for a minute. I got to get your
Hi, Mrs.
draft
Sparks.
grade.
You wanted me to stop by? Is everything okay with your leaf filter gutter protection system?
Yes, sir.
Of course, silly. We wanted you to stop by for dinner as our way of thanking you.
Yes, to thank you for that free gutter inspection, the free estimate, and what was the other thing?
That lifetime guarantee.
Well, Mr. and Mrs. Sparks, those are just Leaf Filter's policies. Everyone who calls Leaf Filter gets a trusted pro to come out for a free gutter inspection and estimate. And every Leaf Filter installation comes with a lifetime guarantee.
So it's not just us?
No, sir. We don't want anyone to worry about clogged gutters ever again.
You mean everyone gets this level of service?
Everyone. They just need to visit leaffilter.com/build to schedule their free inspection.
Okay, but you must be starving. You work so hard.
Ready to love your gutter protection as much as we do? Visit leaffilter.com/build and get up to 30% off today.
See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. 1 discount per household.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Diego.
Hi, Diego. It's Jennifer Coolidge. I just want to say your cashback match makes me feel so special. It really inspired me.
That's great. Doubling the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year is what we do.
Well, I'm doubling everything now. Double dating, double dipping, double feature, double header, double whammy. Basically double or nothing.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/credit card.
Showtime Sports